everybody, and welcome to the God is a Geek Game of the Year podcast, Day 5. My name's Father Christmas, and I promised you that I'd make an appearance. I'm here with my friends Chris, Adam, Mick, and Lyle. How are you all?
Very good, Santa.
Gobsmacked.
Have you been a good boy, everybody?
Oh, dear.
Oh,
yeah, definitely.
No, I've been a naughty boy.
No, if you're going to do that, it's coming off. It's coming off.
You actually look like you actually make a decent enough Santa, I gotta say.
That is superb.
This is why you need. Yeah,
almost as good as Kurt Russell.
Do you like the glasses? This is really bad for audio, but like the glasses are particularly.
They are.
I can't see anyone. Like,
I think you have to leave that on for the next 4 hours.
I think you can fuck right off. Because I can't even see. I'll leave the beard on for a minute. I mean, doesn't that look weird without anything else? Just the beard.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But we're here. We're here on day 5 of Game of the Year. What does that mean, Chris Hyde? While I quickly have a wardrobe change.
It means that we're talking about most anticipated, and then the big one, Game of the Year.
What's the big one? Game of the Year. I'm back now. Sorry.
Adam, you'll never guess.
Yeah, mate.
Santa's just been on the podcast.
Has he?
Yeah.
Do you know the thing is right? This is really bad for those just listening. But I was going to do a thing right where I was going to like spin around in the chair, and then I would have paused it in the edit, so when my back was to it, whipped all the gear off, come back around and goes, I just heard him. Has he been? But it's like
like Superman. I find it weird that when you come in, he goes out every time.
It's strange, isn't it? I thought about it, but I, as people watching this now after the fact will see that didn't do it. So most anticipated is back this year, which is something I'm delighted to talk about because I always enjoy talking about things that are coming up soon. But it's a massive list. I can't even say what won last year because we didn't do it last year.
Did we?
Got Father Christmas's beard hair in my mouth, which is a sentence I never felt I'd ever have to say.
Whoa, now.
Most anticipated is just a tiny little list of 39. Someone's just added a blank for 40. I really have got Father Christmas bearded hair in my mouth. Right, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Extraction, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Dying Light 2, Stay Human, Sifu, Crossfire X, Horizon Forbidden West, Elden Ring, Grid Legends, Evil Dead the Game, Babylon's Fall. Wasn't that the name of a band? Don't know. Gran Turismo 7, Triangle Strategy, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, Forspoken, Saints Row, Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, Scorn, Starfield, Advanced Wars 1 and 2, 1+2 Reboot Camp, God of War Ragnarok, Gotham Knights, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, Little Devil Inside, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Marvel's Midnight Suns, Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals. Bloody hell, lads. Salt and Sacrifice, Split Ahead, Splatoon 3, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, The Lord of the Rings, Gollum, Hogwarts Legacy, A Plague Tale, Requiem, Redfall, Monarch, Lost Ark.
You know what's really hard about this category is that I anticipate pretty much all of them. So it's like, there's nothing that's... You just leave it at that and we move on.
No, because...
What a pod. Just read out a list and sign off.
Sorted.
You thought day 3 was short? Well, yeah, no, listen. Can I suggest one? Because from the moment this game was announced, I was like, why would anyone be excited in this? It looks disgusting.
Oh.
Can you guess?
Horizon.
Where's your buzzer, Chris? You should be pressing that yourself.
Gotham
it looks disgusting.
Scorn.
Okay.
Oh, no, hang on. I mean, it's not going to be in the list, but I don't know. No, right.
Your own point there.
Well, there's better 10 better. Is it top
5?
10, top 5?
Oh,
right,
God,
well,
no,
there's
it's
5
just
better
5.
games than that, isn't there? But, like,
Oh,
I
God,
get some serious Alien vibes off this. I mean,
It does
I'm
look
not...
kind of gross, though. I mean, I won't play it.
I don't think I will. I think I'm too off-put by the sort of slimy penises and all the grossness.
Well, I like a bit of slimy penises.
No, I know you do, Chris, but this is our game of the year list.
I know. Democracy.
I only like my own slimy penis.
Bastards.
I'm going to go on record and say I don't like anyone's slimy penis. The word slimy is the problem there. Let's face it.
Yeah, I guess.
So are we deleting... Are we murdering Scorn?
What about glistening penis?
No. That's better. What was the name of the band that
Listening penis.
No, that is a great rock heavy metal band name. But Babylon's Fall is a game I think Chris Hyde's played like a tiny little bit of, but like I just can't
get on it.
What was the name of the band? Chris White, you must remember. You're, Mick, you're similar age to me. No, the song, it was like, I'm sure they were called Babylon's Fall. Spaceman, always wanted
Babylon Zoo.
That's the
Babylon
one.
Zoo.
See?
Yeah.
See, now that's a better name for a game.
Classic. They could have just called it that. I'd be intrigued. What's happening in this zoo?
Yeah. Babylon
Are
Zoo.
they babbling in it? Yeah.
So, Babylon's Fall.
So Babylon's Fall.
Yeah.
It's not most anticipated, is it? Like, it's not gonna. It can come off. It might blow me away, but from what I played, I wasn't thinking, "Oh, this is top 5."
Well, I've 7 is what you're saying.
I've knocked 2 out of contention. So come on, someone else do some knocking.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's get rid of. Okay. How excited are we about?
All right. Sorry, that really tickled me. Let's get rid of someone. Yeah, all right. I mean, I suppose if that's what we're here for, after all, like.
Jesus. Okay. What the fuck's Monarch?
Yeah, I keep hearing the name and I can't remember what it is.
It is.
Okay, we can delete it. Sorry, I didn't know it was live.
Oh wow.
I didn't know. Sorry. If you could have just, I didn't know that. No, sorry, go on, Lyle. No, I've heard this, and I genuinely. Well, go on.
Yeah.
Let's come back.
It's ex Persona and Shin Megami Tensei
Okay.
developers doing like a.
Suddenly feel very
So
foolish.
it's sort of like setting like a school that's overrun with creepy mist, and there's sort of like a 7 deadly sins element, and I mean it looks really interesting. I think it's going to be something that I'm really excited to play, but I don't think it's going to make the top 10. It'd be on mine, well, top 5 even.
Top 5,
but
Worth mentioning then.
but worth mentioning.
You could. What about Lost Ark then? Because I put that on because I want to mention it because I'm really looking forward to it. But it's probably
This is the post-apocalyptic MMORPG.
This is the one. Yeah, the one.
Yeah,
I
the one
played
we
quite a
mentioned
bit of the demo,
very
but-
recently. We had a chat about. I really do think this could. The trouble is, it's a bit for me. It's a bit like New World, and that game looks like it could be absolutely awesome and a bit different. It's not the typical MMO, but I've kind of lost a bit of faith in that anyone's going to actually do anything like that now. Like, it looks like it could be good.
What I played, I really, really enjoyed, and I know it's been massive because it is already out.
Technically
in
Korea,
or South Korea, where it's been for a while. And I know people have been able to play it through whatever means, but it's the first time
This
it's come to the
podcast
West.
is sponsored by NordVPN. It isn't. But if you want to send me an email, we can talk shop. Yeah, but it's not going to make a top 5,
it's
is
not
it?
going to make a top. No, but the demo was really good, so I wanted to mention it because I am really looking forward to it.
I think one of the reasons that we wanted to bring this category back this year, certainly for my part, is that I enjoy it because it's a kind of one big look forward before the last look back, if that makes sense. But I also think
positivity too. It's
about positivity, but I also think that with a list this big, and this isn't a spoiler, there's 33 games to whittle down on the top 10. I think it shows that not only has this year, yes, we've had delays, but it's been a really, really strong year for video games, and next year looks like it could be ridiculously strong for video games. So who else? With that in mind, we do need to cut 15. No, sorry, 25.
What about, because there's a few...
No, more than that, 30, sorry, yeah.
Few superhero team-ups on there. So the one that of the 3 on there, I don't know very much about Marvel's Midnight Suns.
That's an XCOM style game, I believe.
Right.
I believe.
It is.
And-
It's very niche as well, the story. So
I think is it made by Firaxis, or I imagine that?
yeah, they've
Ooh,
teamed
hang on
up
a
minute.
with.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not saying it makes the top 5, but
But that makes a difference.
But I think Chris has got a point in that. I mean, like, for example, I've watched all the Marvel movies and stuff, and I like a few comics now and again. I don't know anything about the Midnight Suns.
It's based around a very specific Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance story.
There you go.
Called Midnight Suns. So,
Which is
like,
really cool that it's getting made.
The comic is cool. Like, it's a good comic, but like it's not. I don't know. I think people are quite.
They could bounce off this,
cut off.
maybe.
Yeah. But I mean, the concept is great, and I think it's Firaxis, so
Yeah, I
it's
think
not going to be
bound to
it's
be a
not going to
good
be
game.
bad by any means.
No.
I don't think.
It's
But
weird to see Firaxis back doing something that's not
Not
because
XCOM.
they did that thing with XCOM, and then I remember for years after XCOM and even XCOM 2 saying, "Why isn't anybody else doing this?" And now everyone
is.
done it.
And they're doing
now
like.
it's
'Cause
good
what
that
was-
they're coming.
It was last year when you reviewed, like, was it Chimera Squad, and there was another game that wasn't them,
Yeah.
and
There was
the other one
loads
was
of them last
better
year.
than Chimera
and
Squad.
You had
Gears Tactics might have been the
was,
one, actually,
Phoenix
yeah,
Point,
yeah.
there
Phoenix
were
Point.
so many last year. But
Wasteland 3, I think, was last year.
yeah, well,
Yes,
to have and that borrowed so heavily from that. I mean, I don't know. To have Firaxis come back, and I mean, you kind of hope that they're going to come back and be like, let's remind you how we.
I mean,
did.
with the
Do you know what I
Marvel
mean?
license as well, which is interesting because
Yeah.
at the moment it had been mostly Square Enix with the Marvel
Mm.
stuff, but this is unless
Yeah, that's-
Firaxis are teamed up with Square Enix, so I thought they were under 2K, but I don't know.
No, I don't
long
think so.
long and short of it is, are we cutting Marvel's Midnight
Well,
Suns?
you can cut it, but it has woke you up about it a bit. I'll be watching it. From now.
Yeah, no, I was surprised when you said you didn't know much about it because knowing it was a
No.
Firaxis game, but then
Yeah.
if you didn't know that, there'd be no reason for you to. Yeah.
No.
Anyone else got any?
I would like to suggest, is it Sifu? Is that what we're calling it?
Yes.
I think what I saw of that game a few months ago looked really cool, and everything I've seen since looks really rough.
Well,
So we can talk about this because Mick's been playing it. He's got a preview build of it. At the time of pre-recording our Game of the Year podcasts, we can talk about it. I mean, I'm with you for the record, Adam. I would say I watched the trailer and everyone was going mad about it. I was like, why? It looks fine.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I've only played. The demo is about 20 minutes long, so I can't really talk too much.
No,
it's not fair.
but you can tell us if it should be in the top 5 most anticipated of next year. No,
it might have been, but no, it's got issues that go beyond. Needs a bit more time, I think. So I mean, we'll see. And I could be wrong, but no, it's not the most anticipated.
Can I offer up one for
You can
discussion?
offer up 3 if you'd like, mate.
You can offer
it's
up fucking 28.
Yeah, 20 or so if you want.
it is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands going to be anywhere near this top 5?
No.
No, I mean, I think if I had to do a list of 10 of my own, it would sneak in there.
I don't think it even would for me. I think they've ballsed up on this because did you see what they did recently? They put out some sort of Tiny Tina content as like a standalone thing. It was like, the Tiny Tina's DLC from my Borderlands 2?
Yeah, they did. It was Dragons, Assault on Dragons.
That's it.
Keep.
That's the one.
Absolutely fantastic.
Oh no,
DLC.
not doubting that, but I saw that and I was like, wait, I thought this was out next year, and I had to go through all this rigmarole and I'm someone who I like to think is pretty much on the button when it comes to games, and I had to look it up and go like, what's going on? Why are they doing this when they've got a game called Tiny Tina coming out? It feels like they're trying to create the franchise of Tiny Tina separate to Borderlands, and it's not.
I think they're trying a bit too hard. I mean, she's like one of the most popular characters, but whether
I always thought she was one of the hated ones. I liked her character. I mean, liked is the what I mean. I found her entertaining.
She was always up there.
Okay.
And when they did that Assault on Dragon's Keep, because it was so well done,
they've now gone.
Yeah, and I think they did another one with her as well. But there
was.
It's not on the list though.
No. Okay, Chris, go on another 20 then, please, mate.
Another 20. I don't know much about Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. That's a really interesting title.
I put this on there, and I know no one else is going to come with me. And I'll be honest, it ain't in my top 5. But the Test Drive Unlimited series never gets an awful lot of kudos, really. So I don't. Did anyone play any of them? Test Drive Unlimited 1 or 2?
I think I did.
No.
I vaguely remember doing it for. I don't know why I would have.
So at the time, they were kind of a almost prototypical version of what Forza Horizon's become. Like you would go around buying houses and they would become your bases, and you would go. It is not in the same. You wouldn't roar across the hills and stuff like you do in Forza, but you would drive the tracks. It was more track based. But this was ages ago. Like Test Drive Unlimited 2 was kind of more the same, but updated and upgraded. But it was PS3 era. So I'm fascinated to see the one because Test Drive is a name, I guess from I don't know my youth, but from younger days. So I'm fascinated to see what they do with another Test Drive Unlimited game that's not called 3 for some reason. But then I guess it's been so long, it would be weird. But also, I'm just fascinated to see why they think that now is the right time for this. But at the same time, I mean, it's just not a shot. It's a strong-looking 2022. I will play it, but it's not. No, it's gone.
What about? Sorry, does anybody else want to do one before I carry on?
Speak now or forever hold your
Break on.
peace.
I have one alright, but
What about, and someone will swear at me for this, but what about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League?
I'm with you.
I mean, it could be just that the two movies have made me really fucking hate the Suicide Squad with a passion, but I just don't think it looks like it's going to be great.
Looks like Marvel's Avengers without the guns,
but without quite as likable characters.
Without the Marvel.
Yeah, so I don't know. To me, it doesn't look great.
So I watched. Did you watch the recent trailer where they said they showed gameplay? They did show bits. I got the real feeling, and I have since they announced this game, that they greenlit and started work on this game at the same time Marvel's Avengers was being produced. Marvel's Avengers got out the door. They saw the reaction to that and went, okay, let's hold off a bit. And I think they're trying to make this not a service game, but I think it's a service game. And I don't think... I feel like service games are still very popular, but I don't think people want service games. I mean, look at the way Halo Infinite has been talked about because it's free to play now. Like, look at it. Like, toxic isn't the word. Like, there've been Reddit's like shut down certain communities because of the abusiveness and the aggression towards people because of how strongly people feel about it. I think the move of making the things you love into service games, yes, will make people money, and especially when we're coming into the era of NFTs, and let's not do that discussion now. But I do feel like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not like the biggest comic guy on the pod, on the team, by any stretch, but I tell you what, I do love Rocksteady as a developer.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that makes me think it could have potential, but I've not seen anything with it. I think I've done two trailers or three now. I don't know.
Three, I believe. No, I think but I think one was like just a shorter version, contained a lot of the same. Okay. There was one like very short one 3.5 minute one, and now they've released this one at the Game Awards.
But again, Rocksteady are one of those developers that it's easy to say, like, no disrespect to them or anybody else, but it's very easy to say, yeah, well, I'm excited because Rocksteady, because the Arkham games were great. Doesn't always necessarily mean the next game, the next franchise is going to be as good or as great.
I hope
developers
do
have peaks and troughs.
But I look at that trailer and I was trying to work out, like, as someone who likes comic books and likes Marvel and likes DC, what about this excites me? What about this should be exciting me, eliciting some sort... I mean, the story looks kind of cool. Like, look, judging by that latest trailer, Chris White, you've seen it, presumably.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like all the DC heroes have gone bad. Almost a bit like the Injustice 2 storyline where Superman... You know, because the original reveal was Superman, red eyes. That's how you know he's bad. He's got red eyes. And now Flash has definitely got red eyes and is also bad. And, like, the conceit of that, I think it's quite cool. And if you present that to me in this is the next thing in our Batman, you know, where you can pick a character or but this is a multiplayer game. Let's not forget that. They have said that, haven't they? Gotham Knights is the one that is multiplayer if you want it. Otherwise, it's like a traditional Arkham style game, whereas Suicide Squad is a 4-player multiplayer game, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you can have the same problem with this game as you have with the movies, in that the Marvel characters, or the way they tailored, because they did tailor the Marvel characters to fit the MCU rather than take things direct from the comics all the time. They did a lot of work. I feel like they managed to tailor the characters to be like, you can have Iron Man in his suit fight a god and you watch it and go, yeah, that's believable. I find that DC struggle with things like that. They struggle with that balance of power. And Suicide Squad is probably the worst example of that in terms of film.
Well, a lot of DC's characters are more realistic humans.
Well, in that,
not all of them, obviously.
But then you've got. What's Harley Quinn going to do with a baseball bat against Superman unless it's a kryptonite? But I mean, it just doesn't work. And it's like, and those things really bug me when I watch like the Suicide Squad movies, which I'm not a big fan of either one. And so I don't know, I just think that it's going to be more miss than hit. And I don't think even Rocksteady's pedigree
can, Well, what are we saying then?
Can fix it.
What are we saying?
For me, it's not on the list, but I know that Chris is a big fan of that sort of thing. So it could
I'm like, the fact it's a multiplayer game puts me off instantly. Because I don't like games like that being multiplayer.
I like a squad game where I could switch between almost. Like...
Yes,
this is what
exactly, and that's the problem with Marvel's Avengers is that it's great. Like the story, start to finish, it gets a bit like repetitive, but it's enjoyable. And then afterwards, it's like you can do the end game stuff, but it's much better when you play with other people. And I don't like that. I want to just like with Arkham City, Arkham Knight, Arkham Asylum. I love DC games when they're grounded like that. And it's like Mick says, I get why they're pushing the Suicide Squad because the films come out. They've, there's a buzz around them, but you've got Superman, you've got Green Lantern who can literally make any object he wants to use as a weapon. You got the Flash, who is literally the fastest man alive and could kill any one of them like that.
Even in the trailer with him there, I'm
Wonder
like,
Woman.
what are they going to do here? What are they going to do?
And it's really frustrating that they put, and a lot of it is because of Harley Quinn. She was really popular, so they ran with it, and which I get, but it's fucking just doesn't make any sense.
Well, what I'll say then is we'll cut it, but I hope. I mean, unless Chris, Adam, or Lyle have otherwise, we'll cut it. But I hope we are forced to.
We hope we're wrong.
Yeah. But then,
I do as well. I hope we're wrong. I really
hope.
hope.
I hope it's a 10 out of 10. I'd love that.
With Gotham Knights as well.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that'll get cut from this list.
I think so.
I love that last trailer that they released. Like, I think if it is kind of based more grounded in a single player experience.
So it is. I know wait. This is. It is a single player. It's one of those Arkham games with apparently drop in or out co-op.
Yeah.
So and I'll be honest with you, I'm really torn on that one while we're talking about it, because I tell you what, if you could offer me that Arkham Knight, Arkham Asylum experience with a buddy when I do or don't want it, I'm saying that's a top 5 most anticipated game. However, it isn't Rocksteady. It's WB Montreal, who made like Arkham's Origins, which was an alright game.
Yeah. But it is B Team. Do you know what I mean? It feels like it's
horrible but true.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would want to cut Gotham Knights this juncture, because we haven't talked about a lot of games. I don't think it. Mind you, I'm with Chris. He's probably right. It doesn't make it, does it?
I struggle to see many easy cuts on a list like this.
I can see a couple. I
think it depends on how good the combat is and how good because it's based on the Court of Owls storyline, so which is amazing. Like, it's one of the best kind of Batman storylines, but that he's not in it. So
no, but think about the Arkham Knight. Is it Arkham Knight? I should know. I love that game. I'm sure it was Arkham Knight where is it Catwoman in that one as well? Is that Arkham Knight?
Yeah.
And you fight together, and how that was working. Now, if what they do is just make so I'm playing and I'm whoever, but then in this situation, Chris joins and he's now that other person. I'm kind of into that in a big bad way, because I loved Arkham Knight. Arkham Asylum is probably the best superhero game ever made. I mean, what's the rest of the room here saying? Like Chris, Adam, Lyle?
I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily going to make top 5, because there are some really strong ones, but I mean, I think it could be a tough cut later on, maybe, rather than doing it right now.
You can hang on to it for a bit. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it has to go.
Should we hang on to it for a bit? Because Ad said he had a cut as well, didn't you, Ad?
Yeah. This is one where people seem to get quite excited about, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I'll definitely play it. It's not in my top 5 though, but Saints Row. Like, don't get me wrong, it probably is going to be cool and all, but I checked out that trailer after everyone lost their mind, and I was kind of like, yeah, okay. Does Saints Row have to go down this tone? I suppose, because they couldn't do another one of what they've already done. They're kind of after rinsing the humor, you know.
I think
this is kind of like that bit more of a serious tone. I'm sure it'll probably be good, but I was not watching that trailer seeing anything. So
the interesting,
nothing I saw was like, oh my god, I have to play this.
The interesting thing about the Saints Row reveal for me is that obviously it was a massive NDA, and like once we were told what it was and had signed everything, we knew what it was going to be. No, we didn't. Sorry, it was actually, there was a music playing, like, as you're waiting to get the preview, there was music playing that's like, that sounds like Saints Row remixed, and it was. They were really, really like, and it's out. And what was the date at the time? It was I think it was February, wasn't it? And it's out February, and they were really like, they had prepped for that February release, and then almost as soon as they then went public and the embargo lifted, it's like, well, actually, we're going to delay it to August. So. And to me,
I think they dipped a toe in the water there.
I think that's exactly it, and I think it will be a good game. But
I'm sure it will be. But I like,
That series has gone too far for them to pull everything back out of it, like Johnny Gat and stuff.
Well, see, that's the thing, you see, because wasn't it Saints Row the third that everyone really loved?
Yeah.
And then wasn't the next one then kind of a bit of a step down? It was kind of like
it went pure crazy, like you could literally fly. I like Saints Row 2 as well, to be honest with you. But
I think the move is good, but like I'm kind of looking at it going, I don't know how I'll feel about the overall aesthetic.
I don't think it's top 5,
here.
is it? It's not. It's not top 5. Even if it has potential to be great fun.
Chris, can you have a cut now?
I can cut about 10 of them.
I've got one.
All right, go on.
Well, Chris, go first.
Go for it.
I'll savage the list.
I honestly don't think there's a reality where this group's most anticipated involves a Kirby game.
Ooh.
Personally,
I was going to say that, but I thought Adam Carroll would say straight away.
I think I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I'm just saying, are we really say is it in anyone's top 5?
I'm going to make
Kirby's
a bold
kind
statement.
Of legendary, man.
Let me make a bold statement. 2 bold statements. I have never thought a Kirby game was brilliant in my life. However, this one I got serious Super Mario Odyssey vibes off of.
I agree, but is it in your top 5?
If I see now,
keep talking. I'm going to look at this list. Go on.
You announcing this game when we have so many other games to cut. I was looking at it going, that's definitely locked. That's definitely a lock. That's a lock. And then I'm like throwing it around, like, but Kirby is something that.
Sorry.
It is one of those games that when I saw that trailer and it presented itself for what it was, I was like, oh shit.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
But look down that. I've just looked down the list. It's not
get me
top
wrong.
6 for me.
I'm probably where Adam is.
I got major vibes off that.
If I was like, I'm not into the Kirby series. I've always found them very.
They're all right.
They're all right, and I'm not.
They're aimed at a younger generation. I think. Kids,
but then when I saw this, I was like, hang on. Like,
well,
if that wasn't Kirby,
it's not in the top 5.
But it's not top 5 when you look at some of these
games.
But look down the list, Dad. Look down the list, man.
I know, but can we?
There's sequels to our previous games of the year.
This is exactly the problem.
There's so many
for sure, and I can tell
you
the lock straight away. But like Kirby is definitely like I would have held on a little bit. Like Gotham Knights still Gotham Knights can fuck off if Kirby's going.
No, I see Gotham Knights for me.
Gotham
Knights was one of the 6 for me above that, and I didn't even get all the way down the list. Fine, cut some. Chris White, you said you had cuts. Cut some.
I've got plenty of cuts, but
no, go on.
Right, Hogwarts Legacy.
Yep.
Won't make the top 5.
I don't think it will make 2022.
No, probably not.
They have shown it was announced,
when it was announced, it was quite exciting, but there's just been nothing on it.
They've shown nothing.
It's going to come out and it's going to be shit. It is.
I don't think it'll be shit. I think the discourse around it. The discourse is going to make it one of those games that's very hard to enjoy. It's good.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mick. Say again.
This is VR, right? Sorry. Yeah.
No. Third-person action adventure.
It's not.
No.
This is the online kind of.
I'd say.
No, I don't think it's online.
I thought it was a single player thing.
It's a single player RPG action RPG. So this is a problem. None of us seem to know for sure.
Okay.
It's gone.
I would definitely play it, honestly. I would like to think that this
all I know about it is that I'm not playing it. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Who's going to fight to keep Lego Star Wars on the top 5?
No.
No, I'm definitely fucking playing it though.
Oh, yeah, I'll play it, but it's not going to be top 5.
It's a bit of a known quantity to be like anticipating it excitedly.
Yeah.
It'll be terrific. I bet you that'll be terrific.
Come out as well. Like that got
It's
delayed.
been delayed, yeah, last summer.
Yeah, and
summer.
I just find it so weird that a Lego game can get delayed after all the titles tied.
Yeah.
Do you know what though? I think it's going to be such a huge in terms of like content on the disc. Chris White though,
sorry.
Okay, no, go on.
Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals.
I'm with you.
It's not going to make the top 5.
No, fair enough.
No, I'm really interested in seeing what it does, though.
Yeah,
definitely.
Because of the first, obviously, Oxenfree.
I always wanted Oxenfree, the first game. I don't know if anybody agrees with me. When I was playing it, I think I reviewed it, if I remember rightly. I always wanted it to go darker than it actually went.
Definitely.
Like I was always waiting for something really dark to happen and take me down.
But it was kind of like it's teen
drama,
isn't it?
Yeah, but it kind of stayed safe. And I hope that the sequel maybe goes a little bit.
Yeah, I always remember there were a few moments where I was like, "Oh, something's going to pop off in this game," and it just never quite
did.
Yeah. There's a couple of shock moments near the beginning, aren't there? You're like, okay. Right.
Yeah, and then it
prepare
stays
yourself,
really
and then-
safe for the rest of the game.
I think I'm more interested in the business side of that game than anything else because obviously Netflix own them now, don't they? So I think I'm more interested in that than I am. I will play it.
Yeah, I'll definitely play that.
Anyone? Mick said Crossfire X.
Yeah, Crossfire X.
Now-
That's
now,
that's another South Korean one, isn't it?
Yes, but you see, this is the single player, which is coming out in February and is developed by One Remedy Entertainment.
Ooh. Okay.
And it's
maybe
their
hold on
first
to
person
that for a
shooter.
second.
So I don't think it's going to be as good as I want it to be. What I'm interested to see, again, not business-wise, I'm interested to see if they go weird with it because that's kind of Remedy's
because that's
MO.
Remedy's thing. I mean, if they just do a straightforward shooter, that's
Why
kind
would
of
I
a
play
wasted,
it? Why
waste
would
of a developer.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You could have hired or outsourced anyone to make a first-person shooter that's straight-laced. Like, to me, you're taking Remedy on board. That's Alan Wake. That's Control. That's Quantum.
I don't think there's
thingy.
room in it because from what I've seen of it, I've not played it, but I've seen bits and pieces. I've watched a few people play it. It doesn't look like it's got.
No, it's a military shooter.
Yeah, I mean that's a
So
bit of a weird.
it's out, but the single player is out in February. Like I say, and it's Remedy developed. So I am personally very, very interested to see what that is. But I also have to say that excitement is tinged with an enormous concern that it won't be anywhere close. I mean, we know Remedy are working on multiple projects. You know, they've now announced Alan Wake 2. There was definitely some more Control. That was too popular to just... and Crossfire, and I think they've announced another project. I think they did, opened another shoot. I can't remember. I think it's probably not going to make a top 5, though.
Nope.
No.
And we can bat around the houses how interesting Remedy are and what they could do, but
No.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings Gollum.
Just about to say it.
Yeah.
Just about to say it.
It won't
Yeah,
make a top
fucking
5.
No,
And
no,
as
no,
fancy
it
as it looks, there's no gameplay yet. I don't
No.
think it's even coming out.
I feel like that.
No, yeah.
it's vaporware.
Yeah.
It's just, yes, it's not real. I don't know.
I
I
just
can't
don't
see
know
how it
how
can be
much.
that good either.
No.
Not like potentially mechanically could be great, but what I mean is, who wants to? I mean, it's got-
Nick, there was,
Who does?
it was you or Chris reviewed a game, right? It was about like a little a Gollum style character. It was a third person Assassin's Creed stealth-like game. One of you two reviewed it.
It was me. Sticks.
It's not Sticks. Sticks, is
That's
it?
what
Yeah.
this game. Every time I see the name of it, I'm like, is this going to be like that Sticks game? I don't know if it's the same
Well,
publisher.
I think
they were the games that should have made Spiders famous. Finally, the Sticks games.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Particularly Sticks is excellent.
Oh no, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I don't think. Yeah.
I think the last trailer or the recent trailer we just saw at the Game Awards of Gollum really sums up what they're going for with that game, even though that wasn't gameplay, because you see the orcs come in and then he throws down this fucking cauldron of like fire shit on top of him. It's just going to be a lot of that, isn't it? Like,
he's going to be talking to himself the whole time as well, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's going to be walking around like every bit of traversal. He's going to be sort of muttering to himself.
Yeah.
I don't want to play that game. I
Yeah.
don't want to play a game like that.
Irritating.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Because if not, what's he going to do? Because he's not. I mean, just correct me if I'm wrong. You play as Gollum, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's going to be very stealth.
It's going to be stealth.
It's going to be stealth. You're going to have.
It's
It
not gonna-
would be
it's not-
really weird if we didn't see his descent into like madness. Like,
But you're not going to have like massive
But it's already
conversation
gonna
wheels
be
with
there,
people, are you?
isn't
Is
it?
it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. But like, in which point he would be talking to himself and muttering.
Also,
all
has he got
time,
the
right?
ring at this point? Because just whack it on and that's your stealth
No.
sorted.
No.
No.
Oh, yeah, fine. Fuck that then. It's gone
Yeah.
anyway.
Let's go.
Okay.
Okay,
let's-
Lyle's got one. Lyle's going to cut some that everyone else
Is
thinks
any-
looks really
I'm not
good,
sure if
like
this is gonna-
fucking Forbidden West or something.
It might upset people, but it's not good. I don't think it's going
Come
to be
on.
top 5.
Out with it. Come on.
What do people think of Advance Wars?
I don't.
I'm up for it.
Oh,
Yes, but it's
shit about
Let's
it.
face it, it's a remake. I would be
Yeah.
disappointed if, and I'm just looking down the list to make sure there's not a remake elsewhere on there, but I would be slightly disappointed to see a remake that they're definitely using to sort of check the waters to find out if
Yeah.
we should make a new one, hit our top 5 of most anticipated.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really up for it. I'll end up probably reviewing it. And I love the Advance Wars games, but it's just...
I always
I
liked
know,
Fire
it's-
Emblem a bit better too,
I
to be
think-
honest.
Yeah. Like, it feels like a tease as well. Like, that thing you've been asking us for forever, we're not quite doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wouldn't be on my my list, to be honest. Like you say, new stuff, new shiny stuff.
Cut it. Cut that shit.
Stalker 2. Oh, sorry.
No, I just want. He doesn't look happy about it, but
no, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
I just I'm looking forward to it.
No, I am too, but Stalker 2, you said, Mick.
Stalker 2, Chernobyl. Stalker's great. Quite old now.
When was the original?
A while back.
God.
Ages ago,
This has been on the, you know, when you go to like your shop on the Xbox and it's the store and it's got like, you know, coming soon. This has been on there for the longest time.
They just chucked a picture on there about 8 years ago. And went,
it feels like it's been on there when I first put the Xbox Series X on for review like last year.
Get around to it, lad. I don't know. I just don't think anybody here is frightened.
I think the games like Metro and that have maybe overtaken it.
Yeah.
And I think Stalker 2 will be great, but I don't think it's.
I think
the wrong room
been
for
in development for as long as I think it has. I'm a bit worried that it's actually going to not be great.
I just think it's the wrong room for that game here.
Grid Legends.
Legends.
Yeah.
It's not going to make the list, is it, man?
No.
Well, I'll tell you what. It looks good.
Yeah, I've had a quick play of it.
It plays really good as well.
Yeah,
but
it does.
At the end of the day, it's a racing game, isn't it?
I don't say that.
It's just cars, isn't it?
But I mean, the racing really is where it really shines.
Yeah,
but like the story element of it, I do stand by that. But
it's criminally underrated.
It's the Netflix style documentary story, which I'm quite excited about.
Yeah, and
because that's what they've said they've done, and they've got the writers from Ghost of Tsushima on board. So I don't know. I think the story will be good, but again, they've said. It doesn't matter how you finish your race or whatever. It's straight on linear. There's no room. You can't fail a race. That affects the story. You have to complete the story, or else you'll fail and have to retry. So in that element, it's like, wow, great. But the concept might be quite good. But other than that,
it's
and it does handle well. It's it's a good racer, but it's not going to get in our top 10.
No.
I know it's a sort of bigger scale of racing game, maybe, but Gran Turismo 7, is that going to make it?
I wouldn't like to cut that yet.
No?
Like, we're talking one of the OGs here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? We're talking the series, the racing series. The first PlayStation had a GT. I mean, and hey, listen, if I'm alone, then it's cut. But I really want to see what they have been up to, because we all know GT Sport is good now, but we all knew at the time that it was almost not a stopgap. It was not GT7. I really, because it's a bit like the FIFA PES thing. I would like to think that PlayStation or Polyphony Digital have gone away and gone, Forza have had their way now. They've just had it their way for too long. It's time for the daddies to come back. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure.
GT7 is that game that's going to come out. It's going to look incredible. It's probably going to be amazing for car fanatics. Someone like me, don't care.
No, I agree. I
just don't care.
And I think maybe that's why we do.
The only thing for me is it will be the other side of it. It's the sim rather than the. It's the motorsport, the Horizon, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think it makes our list. I really don't.
No, it's not gonna.
But I agree with everything you said, Adam. Like I want it to be.
I can't believe that is April. Do you know what I mean? Like, or is it March? It might be March. I think it's March. It doesn't matter. Whenever it is, it's early next year, and I can't believe. Like, and the thing is, as well, as I thought to myself, they'll probably just delay it. But they literally, I think, this recently put out a tweet like going, all these games are available on PlayStation in under 100 days, and it was like Elden Ring, Horizon's Forbidden West. Sorry, it wasn't PlayStation. It was all these games, and it was like PlayStation games like God of War on PC, and GT7 was there. It's like, they're including that in that list. This game's coming out. Wow, GT's coming out. We're getting a new proper numbered GT. But no, fine. Forspoken.
Okay.
Was that what you were going to say?
I'm really quite hot on that. This is.
You shouldn't be. I've seen it in action. I previewed it for NME for freelance. No, like that game's got problems. Like it's already got problems that are like.
Isn't it away yet? Isn't it like?
No, it's they've announced it as
May or
May.
May, yeah, mid to late. No, I think it's early May.
May 24th.
But the problems that I found with the game, they can't fix before May.
Yeah, May's not far. I mean, if you've seen it and you're saying that it's the same as Sifu, you know,
I don't think it's bad. I'd be very clear about that. And again, I'm not trying to promote another website, but you know, I preview this for NME, so go read that preview. But I will also say, I'm not the only one who previewed it. Look at other people's previews. I was quite easy on it, perhaps. It's got real problems. I think that game is like there's some just really odd stuff in there. Like one of the things you can do in there is like you can paint her nails with cosmetics, and like I was immediately like, that feels weird to me because you wouldn't do that if it was a male protagonist, would you? And it really felt really odd. And also, she's from like New York, Frey, her name is, and she's been sort of transported to this like almost Final Fantasy style setting, and she's swearing all the time and muttering and talking all the time. So you're like doing all this like Harry Potter style magic, and then she's like, "Fuck you" all the time, and it's like it was like so grating that I was like, you can't fix. You've got time. You could tone that down. You know, almost a case of turning down how often she speaks in randomized battles, but it was consistent. Like she's constantly swearing at them, and it's just like this is really weird. It's like this isn't cool.
Okay, you've put me off a little bit.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Tom Clancy.
Yeah, it's not making the list.
I know Rainbow Six, you know, it's a big thing. Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow Six is a big thing. Tom Clancy's a big thing still. But on this list, our list,
it's not making this list.
This site, really? No. And I'm not knocking it.
I think it's going to be
sure
fun.
People are going to be falling over themselves to get hold of it. But
I liked the trailers. Yeah, I thought it looked like it was going to be good.
I think it'll be decent.
It's another one of those Left 4 Dead style shooters. Like it's you and two. It's 3-player, I believe. It's you and two mates against like the alien things. And it's got some cool shit in it. Like so, if like let's say myself, Mick, and Lyle are playing it. If Lyle gets killed in the game, I don't know why I picked you there, Lyle.
Oh wow! Why would
let's
you
just say no?
Again,
it's Christmas. No, it's Christmas. Let's say Mick gets killed, right?
Oh, fuck me.
You can say he's picked the operator Chris Hyde. Chris Hyde's an operator in this game. That operator now is locked out. You have to rescue them from the it's like a bit like the aliens thing where they're all cocooned up. You have to rescue them for that operator to become available again, and then it becomes a rescue mission. So there's some kind of cool ideas in here. Certainly enough, I believe, to warrant it being a separate video game.
Yeah.
It doesn't make our top 10, does it?
No, it just doesn't.
Top 5 even. That would probably be. That's why it doesn't make our top 10 because there isn't one. Little Devil Inside. Can anyone remember this? Because I thought that trailer looked really awesome, but again,
I had to just Google it to remind myself which one this was.
I'm watching the trailer, but I don't remember thinking, "Wow," because it's not my sort of thing. But
see, I did, but I don't think it makes our top 5.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Right,
we're at like 17 now, and I'm already struggling.
No, but they're going. It's nice to talk about what's coming next year.
There's a few that I think. I mean, I like. Okay, because of how strong the list is. What about Evil Dead the game? Because I love Evil Dead. I love it. Absolutely massive fan of Ashley Evil Dead. So for me, really looking forward to it.
One of the most underused characters, Ash.
Yeah.
The amount of cameos he could make in video games is so underused.
Bruce Campbell's quite. He's not one of those that does do everything possible to be Ash.
No, but I think he's also one of those that if you asked him, he probably would.
Yeah,
I get the feeling if you asked him to do it.
Yeah, he's just come out and said no more. He's not going to play the character anymore, didn't he?
I think they've done everything they can with that.
Though. He said. I think he said it's become too physically demanding now for him because
he's got a part or some sort in the new Evil Dead movie that's coming out. But like he's kind of producing it on it. Jazz. He's still heavily involved, but like that man is like he's very picky in ways of what he does. But I
think he could have been huge, Bruce Campbell.
Oh yeah,
he just tends to cherry pick exactly what he wants to do, and the rest of it he's just.
And he picks weird shit like think of Bubba Hotep. That is such a weird film. Even now I think of that, and I'm like, I still don't know.
He put his name on it, and it's a cult hit, so he knows.
Yeah.
If I don't know if Evil Dead is going to make our top 5 here. It's absolutely in mine because I think what is being shown what is being thrown out for fans is so amazing.
The old Evil Dead game. Do you remember the Evil Dead that was on? I think it was on. I don't know if it was on the original. Yeah.
It was fucking hard as balls.
Absolutely loved that game, though. Absolutely.
They should make an Evil Dead game in the style of Dark Souls.
Oh, I don't know.
Think about it. All the kind of grunt enemies. Well, okay, fine.
It's just going to be hard. I don't know. Okay, yeah, it's not going to make our top 5, but Jesus, I am so excited for it.
Well, if you and Mick are, let's cut something else.
I mean, we can leave it for now if you want. I mean, if there's other things that people are saying, get rid of.
I've 2 here.
Okay.
I'm going to say straight off, we can discuss both of them. I think the first game is brilliant. I think this one's going to be great too. Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. I don't think it makes our top 5, but I think it actually is going to be quite good because the first one really took me by surprise. I have to say, I thought it was very funny and it was really good gameplay, and it was one of the better of those types of games that I have played because I don't play many of those. Just the mechanics get bogged down. And then before we touch that, Salt and Sacrifice as well. I didn't like Salt and Sanctuary.
Oh, Salt and Sacrifice, I would really rather we didn't cut yet.
See, I think he's nailed it. I have to say, I think both those games will be tremendous, but
Salt and Sanctuary was so good.
It was, no question. But is it going to be in the top 5? Look down this list, and again,
so bad.
You could almost pick the top 5 and just delete the rest, but we need to talk about them.
Actually, I have 6 that I'd really like to lock. So
exactly. So we have. I do agree that I think both of these will be great.
I think, I mean, Mario and Rabbids, I didn't play. I did play it.
Fucking brilliant.
Not
it was excellent.
I remember people telling me to play it because
it's XCOM, but Mario.
It's my type of game.
And do you know what? It's difficult as well. It's actually quite hard in blood spots.
It gets really hard. Yeah.
But I do. Yeah, I think. Yeah, really looking at the list.
Any other year, I think that one would fight my arse.
I will say Salt and Sanctuary is in my personal list because Salt and Sacrifice. Sorry, but I get it. Yeah.
Well, let's.
Redfall.
Well, hang on. So, are we cutting Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope?
I would cut 11 and 12.
Yes, for me.
Are we cutting Salt and Sacrifice?
Lyle, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I was more. I kind of thought Mario and Rabbids would make it further, but I don't think it would even quite be in my top 5. So that was the one I was umming and ahhing on. I've not really got much to say about Salt and Sacrifice.
You probably could have bit the bullet at this point and cut 9 and 10 as well, to be fair. I really do.
I feel like they're not going to make it.
They're just not.
Which is Gotham Knights and Kirby and the Forgotten Land. People that don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
I think Kirby's got to go, right? I know.
I think they've both got to go, and I really hate this.
I hope Kirby comes out to 10s.
Mate, I hope all these all come out to 10s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want all games.
Absolutely.
I'm hovering over the delete button.
Yeah.
Mash that. Mash the keypad with your palm now.
Evil Dead's still on here and all.
Chris, yeah, we were going to lose that one. Adam Carroll.
Sorry, mate.
Quiet.
He hasn't noticed.
Yeah, I know. Look, if Evil Dead has to go.
It does. It does.
Yeah. Life is falling apart.
I think there's two more games that could be easily caught more so than the others, and then we can get into the nitty gritty.
8 and 12. 8 and 12, yeah?
Yeah, I thought 8 and 12.
They weren't the 2 I assumed, but I would have.
8?
Yeah. So what's it called?
Slitterhead.
Is it definitely Slitter and not Slitherhead?
No, it's Slitterhead.
That's a horrible name for a game.
Saying out loud at night in my garage kind of makes me feel like I'm evoking something. So
that's what I mean. I typed it in there and I thought I'd
Beetlejuice or
Slither.
It appears behind me now.
Just grab the saw.
Yeah, I'm armed. Yeah. I've got a chainsaw I can lock onto the.
And knowing the caliber behind it, it has a lot of potential. But we've not seen any gameplay. But I mean, it looks fucking great. Like. Crazy shit from a crazy director who created and directed Silent Hill, at least the original. Oh man, I can't wait.
That's why I'll never play it because I wet my pants at these.
But it looks a bit more
much money.
Not light-hearted, but a bit more actiony. It's not like survival horror.
Bring that
it's
back.
More, I don't know. It doesn't look light in tone at all, but it looks a bit more kind of.
It's not a jolly old time, is it?
No, it's
Slit
not.
her head. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know what more.
I think it's fucking cracking.
Cut.
But yeah, cut it.
And the other one was
Redfall. Someone shouted it out.
I heard Redfall called out.
Yeah. I do think it looks okay.
Is
this another Left 4 Dead type game?
We don't know. We just know it's a multiplayer from Arcane.
Because I kind of think there's a room somewhere where there's a bunch of executives that are just going, "What about Left 4 Dead, right? But with." And then they pull something out of a hat and go.
I don't think it's going to make next year. I don't think this is going to make next year.
It's gone very quiet, hasn't it? Like on it.
Well, there was some leaked stuff ages ago. Like I think video of some internal testing leaked. I think ages ago. And
who's behind it?
It's Arcane.
Ooh.
But I don't think. I think it was announced as like this is our next because not Dishonored. Deathloop was like Arcane Leon originally, wasn't it? It was like the other Arcane studio, and now they're just Arcane. And I think Redfall was initially announced as the game from the people who made Dishonored. And then because then they revealed it, it's like, and it's a multiplayer game, and you could almost feel the entirety of the gaming populace just go exhale at the same time.
I was, because I watched the trailer and went, this looks cool, and then I saw what it was probably going to be, and I went, oh.
Well, it's not. It's one of those things where there's a developer out there making these really cool, interesting single-player games that everyone who loves those kind of games are like super into and super happy about. Going, nah, we're making multiplayer games. No, but you were one of the ones left doing it.
But we like money.
Yeah, well,
Cha-ching.
Gone.
I think so.
Gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
That's a 10. We're down to 10. This is so easy.
It is.
Could I suggest one that might be juicy to some?
Yeah.
It'll be juicy to Adam Carroll if
I don't know. It's Splatoon 3.
Oh.
I will come to your house and kill you.
I don't.
I will come to your house.
Yeah.
End your life.
See, because, and I'm only saying this because I haven't played Splatoon 1 and 2. I haven't. So I'm not saying that they're bad games. I don't know. But I do know that they've both had people be negative about them for various reasons. I can remember because wasn't there some controversy over Splatoon 2?
No, it's the least controversial game you could ever play.
Do it. No, I mean in terms of like, wasn't there a feature that was missing? I remember reading articles about this when it came out.
I mean, maybe.
I mean, that's what I mean. Not anything.
People love that game. They love that series.
I mean, fair enough.
I've never played it. Just playing too, so it's not my most anticipated.
That's what I'm just asking.
For me, it's like it's one of those
I'm making
a
list, and I'm not even going to check it twice. I'm just going to drive to each one of your addresses.
No, but the only reason for me,
right?
The only reason for me is I'm looking at this list, and there are 5 games that I would lock in, and that's not one of them.
I just think
that is the only reason.
Yeah, Splatoon's not one of those series that people have said to me, you must go and play this. Like, and there's a lot of series that I haven't played that people have been very vocal and very
I would say get better friends. Sorry.
Adam's going to drive to your house and be that friend.
No, I've told you what I'm doing.
Bring Splatoon.
Hang on, just is there anyone else? Is there anyone else that's going to back keeping this? Because otherwise, there's no point. I'd muck around, but
same for Chris. I have 5 other games I'd pick.
Yeah, I'm in that same position, unfortunately.
See you later.
I've changed my mind. I won't be coming to any of your houses to kill you because you're all already dead inside.
Oh,
and it's gone.
That's how we start this site.
Right.
So let's cut down like 2 then, shall we?
I think we should.
I think.
Oh, cool. I was joking.
For the same reason, don't we?
What?
I think we probably could. Well, partly because of what a certain person said earlier about it, and also because, I mean, it's not as well. I think there's better games on there. Not better, but more anticipated games on there.
I was joking. Genuinely, I thought that was a lock.
Really? No.
Yeah, I really thought that was a lock.
Well, not for me. It's not a lock anyway. Not for me.
I'm really looking forward to it, but like I say, there's 5 of this 9 that I would personally.
Oh, and that isn't on your 5. Interesting. I thought it would be.
It's not on my 5 either.
It's on mine.
It is on mine.
Then we have to keep it for now.
It's on mine.
Yeah, because that's 3 people.
It'd probably be 6 on mine, but that's not the game.
I've got a game.
Let's move to another one. Yeah,
that I know Adam Carroll won't like.
Oh God, I know what you're going to say.
I'm just waiting to see his face when I
don't.
it. Triangle strategy.
Yeah, I knew he was going to say triangle strategy.
I don't know what that is.
Definitely like that.
That's not going to be our top 5.
I need someone to tell me what it is. I don't know what that is.
It's a tactics game. It's that one they announced, and they literally put a demo about it. It was called Project Triangle Strategy.
Same art style as Octopath Traveler.
Yeah,
that's the one.
Chris, I'm not against you here on this, because it's not in my top 5.
I wasn't trying to upset you. I don't like upsetting you.
No, it was me, wasn't it? It was me.
You fucking do.
Yeah, it was you.
You guys get up in the morning and make lists.
I played this demo twice, and honestly, I absolutely loved every second of it. I think this game has some serious potential. It needs to change its name.
It's not going to. That's what it's called.
Just change its name.
That's why I've ignored it this whole conversation, because I just haven't triangle.
My God! And do you know what? They went off and they listened to everyone who did the survey, whatever, from that demo.
Everyone they list, yeah.
They changed a lot of shit, like, pardon him. But I couldn't find,
actually, that's true.
I couldn't find any fault from what I played of it. The voice acting was
it's terrific.
incredible.
I was playing that demo, being like, "And this is going to be a 40-hour, isn't it?" Oh, you know what I mean? It was like I stopped playing the demo. I was like, "I'm stopped playing this right now because this is I need to stop." And
does it stay on the list then?
No.
I hope so.
If you fuckers are cutting this to keep fucking really... Starfield on here, I'm going to be really upset.
Starfield next.
I'm going to say this right now. There's one game here that I don't have in my top 5. It's going to cause absolute chaos.
I know what it is. It's number 1.
I know what it is, and I bet it's not coming off the list.
Come on then, let's have it. We've got to know what people want cut in here. Are we cutting Triangle Strategy?
Yes.
That's one vote for yes.
Lyle, you seem to be very
no, I don't want that cutting, but
no, I don't either.
So Horizon, Elden Ring, God of War, Zelda, they're not being cut, are they? So it's right around the rest of them. So Triangle Strategy is going to go.
That? What about, like, we could talk about Starfield as a cut? I mean, we could, because I'm anticipating it. Does anybody know what exactly it is?
Yeah, it's a Bethesda game set in space.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there you go.
Sorry, and I think it will be a very good Bethesda game set in space. However, they've given a release date for it already of November 2022. They did that with Halo. Did that with Halo.
Middle of
2023. They cannot put out a Bethesda game under Xbox for the first time, exclusive to Xbox, the way they would normally put out a game like that. That game's not making 2022.
No, I think you're probably right.
It's not a bad argument.
I don't believe it's making 2022, and I don't think it should.
It's not on mind list.
Chris looks like he's about to throw a noose up, though. Chris White, sorry, there's 2 Chris's.
I'm not.
No, I'm sorry, I thought you'd be well up for this
one.
Okay.
No, I am well up for it.
But I'm well up for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Dying Light's still on there. Did we not mention taking
No, there were 3 people, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
3 people want it, but 3 people want Triangle Strategy.
Just going to say
so we're sort of, at the moment, they need to stay. Yeah.
Look, unless the argument's made, I don't care about it. Lyle, I'm sorry, Pokemon Legends.
Pokemon Legends.
I'm just
for this.
I'm not
for this.
I'm
compared to
not,
the rest.
I am not here to. I'm just not into it. I'm just not up for it.
No, I'm waiting for this.
Yeah. I mean, I don't play Pokemon at all. So
if it comes around and it's absolutely like, yeah, I'll play
Lyle,
this if it's something different.
Mate,
I understand, Lyle. I understand.
I say this knowing the ramifications of what I'm about to say. I'm with you, Lyle. I am. I know what I've just said. I'm with you. But I can't think of an argument to counter them, because the only thing I keep thinking is about the last sort of 3D open world Pokemon, all the frame rate issues, and how I suspect they probably will do that all again.
I mean, I can understand that it might not be the most technically amazing or jaw-dropping game. I think it's very, very sad that we would cut Pokemon Legends when people have been saying since, like, basically the 2nd or 3rd Pokemon game that series needs to shake it up, and it's finally doing that in quite a big way. More than I think it ever has
How
before.
So?
I mean, it's not like the way you capture the Pokemon looks completely different. It doesn't look like it's necessarily even like turn-based. There's a lot of different.
No, but it's also they've also confirmed that it's not open world as well. It's basically, and this is kind of makes me smile a little bit, is how I've said all the way through this deliberations that Monster Hunter Stories 2.
I was going to say that
is the best Pokemon game that they never made. from everything I've been informed on, Pokemon Legends Arceus is a Monster Hunter game, not a Pokemon game.
I guess I can see that.
No, I'm saying it as a positive. That's the only defense I can think of, and I'm looking at Chris Hyde.
I don't think it makes this.
It's fine if it doesn't make the list.
No, it doesn't.
It's just me and Lyle here.
Yeah.
I'd love to be the
if
one
the game's left, it's in mine.
Oh.
Is it?
Yeah. I'm quite excited about this. I love
I've
Pokemon
still got a top 5 that's on this list.
Can I be honest?
Yeah, same.
Can I be honest? The only game I'd cut over Pokemon or is Dying Light 2, and then I think I'd want all 6 what remains ahead of Pokemon as well.
Yeah, and the only one I cut out of that is because it might still not make it.
Someone offer another cut if they don't want Pokemon to go.
I can't.
I want
No,
Pokemon
I can't.
to go.
Yeah, I think Pokemon has to go.
I think it's gonna.
It's number 8. Like it's not like
it got pretty far for a Pokemon
like it's
game.
not...
Let's be honest.
And only because I don't know the series, the only game I'd keep over. I get rid of like 2 now and Triangle Strategy because I don't know Triangle Strategy for me.
Well, can I offer a really bold, shocking? Can I offer a bold surprise here that I think we should start maybe locking ones in? I think we need to lock Horizon Forbidden West. I think we need to lock Elden Ring, and I think we need to lock God of War Ragnarok.
Absolutely.
I think those 3 are concrete locks. There's not an argument to be made to get any of those removed, is there?
As much as none of them are on my list, I don't see them not being on this list.
Yeah.
Is Breath of the Wild 2 definitely coming next year?
Well,
So
this
That's
is
what
the
I'm
thing.
questioning.
So the trailer that we've seen says 2022 on it.
Okay.
At the end.
Well, Nintendo are pretty decent when it comes to
They don't
release
fuck
dates.
about really, do they? Like if they say
And if when they do release things when they don't put dates on, so
are we saying if it's 22, it's a lock?
Yes.
Yeah.
If the
hang on a minute. Hang on a minute.
No.
Lyle just said yes.
No, it's fine. It's a group list. He's not.
No,
It's
not
not
even just that. It would be on my list. I'm fairly well known for my opinions on the original Breath of the Wild,
Which we don't need to get into.
Which we don't need to talk about.
Positivity.
But you might be able to guess what that would be for why they would be notable.
Yes.
But I mean, I'm still a massive Zelda fan, and
That's precisely why you'd be excited, isn't it? As well to see if they do a Twilight Princess
back in.
I didn't.
Not Twilight Princess. What's the mask one? Majora's Mask. Yeah.
Yeah, I still think I'm very, very interested in that game. I want to love that game, obviously.
I think you got to lock that vote on the last 3.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, guys, but I tell you what, Plague Tale Requiem is still not a lock. Plague Tale Innocence.
I mean, it was our game of the year, the previous game.
Like,
I feel like.
I mean, for me,
like so
that's
I couldn't put
that makes mine,
Dying Light 2 above Plague Tale Requiem. Yeah, exactly. Okay, and I know because Triangle Strategy is a big deal because like other people like it a lot. For me, I'd lock a Plague Tale Requiem and be done.
For how niche Triangle Strategy is and how bad a video game name that is, I think it. I can't morally vote against the sequel to a game The only thing I would argue about the Plague Tale, I never felt it needed a sequel. But
I was going to say that.
But I said that
exactly.
about
The
Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
And I think with that in mind, I mean, unless someone's got a good argument.
I don't like the original, but in this room, I don't think it's leaving the list.
Christ, Lyle!
Go on, Adam Carroll, let's go.
I thought Gary was bad.
Look,
I hope he watches this. Gary, Lyle's worst.
Hi, Gary.
Let's have a vote. We're voting for the game we keep. Horizon, Elden Ring, God of War, the sequel to Breath of the Wild are 4 locks. We are voting for the 5th final lock. The others go.
That's fair.
Chris Hyde.
Yeah.
Plague Tale stays.
Okay. Chris White.
Dying Light 2.
Hotting up. Mick Fraser.
Requiem.
Lyle.
Dying Light 2.
Oh!
I'm now debating in my head, do I go next or do I get Adam Carroll?
You go next, Ed. I think you should go next.
I think that's unfair. Then you might get the deciding vote.
Oh,
It's a Plague Tale. It's a Plague Tale. Yeah. Well, it's triangle strategy, but voting with this being an entertainment form medium in mind, it's a Plague Tale for me. Adam Carroll.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm Plague Tale.
Okay. Well, we've done it. We've whittled 39 down to 5. I think if I can actually make
now the hard bit.
Yeah.
That's where the fun begins.
Is it?
No, leave it like that.
No, you fucking do not.
What?
No.
Oh, surely God of War's number one, right?
I'd swap 1 and 3 and leave it like that.
Surely God of War's number 1 in that list.
It is for me.
I kind of think it's got to be. God of War is probably one of the best things ever. Like ever, not just games. One of the best things ever.
No, we're not...
Like steak, blowjobs. I don't know. God of War's in there somewhere.
That's the third one of the trifecta, isn't it? Okay.
Steak, blowjobs, God of War. Yeah.
I can't see a world in which it isn't. The way that I'm thinking of, I know, Lyle, you haven't, but I'm thinking of the way Adam Carroll, Chris White, myself, Chris Hyde, I think Mick as well, talked about that game as literally a piece of art.
It's phenomenal. It's absolutely beyond.
Even if it's just that game again in a different setting with a different story, I don't see how it could be anything other than.
I'll take 25
It's not been
more
overdone.
hours of that.
That's what I mean. Like God of War 2018 has not exactly been overdone in the industry. That kind of game. I mean,
they didn't even spank the ass off it with DLC and stuff, did they?
No, and there were bits on that map in the middle that I always thought was DLC. Do you remember that? There were bits in the tree thing in the middle that you couldn't access.
You couldn't access, and I was like, okay, that's coming.
That would be DLC, and it never was.
But I think that's coming in the others. If
you want to play it for 100 hours, you can.
Yeah, I mean, surely to God, that's up there number 1.
Yes, yeah.
I think
absolutely.
Right, what about I'd put Elden Ring at 2.
I wouldn't.
That's fair because
I
of the type
wouldn't
of game
either.
it is.
And I've played it obviously for the preview. It's definitely a game I cannot wait to play more of. But
so where does it go? What do you think? Breath of the Wild?
I'd put Breath of the Wild 2 and move everything down. That'd be my 5, but that's just me. So I'd have Horizon 3.
I'm close, but not quite the same.
5.
I think a Plague Tale Requiem needs to be slightly higher.
Well,
I think
5
it goes 5.
You
Plague
think?
Tale, yeah.
Chris, you said you'd put Breath of the Wild 2 and then move everything else down.
Yeah.
I agree with that guy.
I would keep Horizon at number 2.
I have to say,
I'd keep Horizon at 2.
And Breath of the Wild at 3.
Maybe swap Breath of the Wild with Elden Ring.
I don't think Breath of the Wild 2 or whatever they call it, I don't think it's coming out next year. I don't. And that's kind of in my head, if you know what I mean. Like, because don't get me wrong, Breath of the Wild is one of the best games ever made.
My point,
I can't get it out of my head.
Light 2.
All we know is that Breath of the Wild, at the moment, all we know is it is, because that's what we've been told.
Yeah.
And for me, if it comes out, it's number 2.
But I'm also really tentative about what that game will be.
That's why I'm anticipating for it.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Like, there's no way they would keep not delaying it, but withholding it, so to speak. Where's it set? They haven't given it a name, so that means it says to me the name's a spoiler. But then that's also like, well, that's weird.
All it takes is one direct in January.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
To just announce the title.
It is worth saying we didn't know about Metroid Dread for most of this year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know about that till May, and that's going to get talked about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So if I do that, then
that's me. That's mine.
I can live with that. It's not 100% mine, but I can live with that as a group decision.
I tell you what. That's fucking astonishing to me that how I would never have believed any game could be a sequel to Breath of the Wild. And like nobody is here going.
It was only when you put it, because in my mind I was like, well, it's Breath of the Wild, isn't it? And then you said it, I was like, no, I actually think when side by side, I'm probably slightly more on God of War, because of like what you said, like how, yeah.
It's
Plague Tale does well, because Plague Tale is the only game on there that's going to be a 15-hour story.
What a year, man! Jesus,
I know. Yeah, what a year! Jeez,
that's good.
Oh, Adam Carroll.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm happy out, lads. Jeez,
Okay,
I'd play all 5.
right now. I'll lock them in. Most anticipated of 2022. In 5th place, A Plague Tale Requiem. In 4th place, Elden Ring. No surprise that's made the list, I feel. We didn't even talk about it. I don't think we really need to. In 3rd place, Horizon Forbidden West. Same really with that. Didn't need to. The sequel to Breath of the Wild. Can't, because we don't know anything about it, other than it's apparently 2022. And the most anticipated game of 2022 is God of War Ragnarok.
With a bullet.
I'm not going to be prepared for those top 3 personally. Like, I just don't think my fucking brain is going to handle any of us.
Do you know what? You really scared me a little bit, like, because when Chris said, "Oh, it only takes a direct in January," that would literally put the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn up against the sequel to Breath of the Wild again.
Don't even.
That's why I didn't play Horizon for like 6 months. Because I
imagine
couldn't.
These conversations next year. Fuck me.
Yeah. If I had to chat about Breath of the Wild 2 next year, I'm in.
You're in trouble. Well, it all comes down to this. We are at the end of lengthy deliberations, as you know, if you've been coming along the journey with us. And if you haven't, don't cheat. Go back to the beginning and listen like everyone else. Be a good boy or girl. Come on now. Seriously. Play the game. Game of the year. Top 10 list before we get to the best game of the year. We've got to whittle this down from 33 to 10 and work out what order those 10 go in. And the list, I'm not even going to talk about last year's because I think everyone remembers what it was. Right?
Cyberpunk.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. Just to be clear, if you are listening for the first time, it wasn't. So the list is Monster Hunter Rise, Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin, Tales of Arise, Deathloop, Metroid Dread, Back 4 Blood, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Lost in Random, It Takes Two, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Returnal, Knockout City, Neo The World Ends With You, FIFA 22, nearly 22 and a half for some reason, Psychonauts 2, Death's Door, WarioWare Get It Together, New World, Resident Evil Village, Nier Replicant, The Gunk, Scarlet Nexus, Hitman 3, Outriders, Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, Far Cry 6, Hot Wheels Unleashed, Halo Infinite, Forza Horizon 5, The Dark Pictures Anthology, House of Ashes, Life is Strange True Colors, and The Forgotten City.
Wait a minute.
Did I miss one, Lyle? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I think
did I miss New Pokemon Snap? Sorry, New Pokemon Snap. That's the 33rd one. Sorry. Sorry, yeah. I don't. Weird things happen.
Yeah,
I'm wearing a Santa suit, drinking Coke.
Pokemon Snap.
More cliched.
Let's just pull the band-aid off.
Is this the time where I have to get in?
New World.
New World.
Yeah, we're all just shouting games now. Come on.
New World. Let's just
Well, we can
It's
start.
not like the top 10, is it?
What? Well, sorry, hang on.
New World.
But Adam's shouting the
didn't
gun
shout.
as well.
Yeah, he shouted after me after I started talking. It was rude.
Right.
Order, gentlemen.
New
Jesus
Pokemon
Christ.
Snap.
New World.
Come on now.
New World we're discussing.
New World.
Yeah.
Okay.
New World, I think, was a good MMO. It was a decent game. Surprised a few of us. We enjoyed it. It's not game of the year, is it?
Some of
it's
us-
not top
some
10
of us-
game of the year.
Played far too much of it in a short space of time.
But do you love it? Do you love it?
I don't-
Do you love
I
it enough
don't-
to say it's
It
in your
burned
top
bright.
10 of the year.
But like a candle, it went out, didn't it?
I
think there's
And
a
it
lot.
seems
I think
to
there's
me-
at least 20
Oh.
games.
I
I
don't
was thinking
think
of the next lyrics.
I don't think it makes this group's top 10
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
because like half of them didn't play it. First off,
Steps.
He's
Never
just singing
have-
Candle
I'm
in the
trying to
Wind.
keep going. And look, who's Chris singing to? I don't even know. if
He's
listening
singing
to what
Candle
he's
in the Wind,
singing.
and I blame
Candle
myself.
burned out long before.
Okay.
World of
Okay.
Warcraft.
So we're cutting New World, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that was first, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised it was first since we were talking about new Pokemon Snap, but
Yeah, let's do that next.
One second.
look,
The sleeves don't really go up very
hang
far.
on. Right, so we're cutting New World. The thing is with new Pokemon Snap, right, is I don't doubt it's a good video game.
That's nice of you.
Actually, I think that's the only thing I have to say. No, I don't doubt it's a good video
I'm
game.
sure it's decent.
The issue is as always, nobody else here has played this game, and I don't
That's a
think
fucking strong list.
the thing is everyone's coming into this thing with their top 10, and if it's not on them, I don't know how you convince anyone. If you want to have a crack, that is absolutely what this podcast is for. But I think we all know, in our heart of hearts, Lyle.
Well,
I don't think it's even going to make top 15. So
no, we don't do it. Don't say that because he might have been willing to let it go, and now you're making it sound like it's got to hang on.
If it could make top 15,
every game cut from this list is number 11.
I think it would even.
Well, I'm going to give it a try because I gave this game a 10. I'm not going to just let it get cut second. I'm going to have to try and say something about it. So, new Pokemon Snap, the original, all those years ago. Tiny young Lyle, Christmas Day under the tree. He, played it, loved it, all that stuff. Now there's a sequel. Been wanting a sequel forever. It improves on it in pretty much every way. There's loads of content, loads of Pokemon, loads of different ways you can take photos of them, loads of poses that they do. It's just in every way a sequel could be better. New Pokemon Snap is better. It's the game that I go back to if it's been a long day and I'm just about to lie back in bed and, everything's got on top of me. And I just think, well, I need one quick thing to just help ease me back into, getting ready for a night in bed. So
yeah, sounds less than what I do.
I just want you to know, Lyle, that I thought of that and didn't say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we all
I
thought.
think of it constantly and didn't say it.
That's fair.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just the most joyful, relaxing game that also has elements of score attack and whole different modes that are amazing. And I love new to Pokemon Snap. It's going to feature quite highly in my own list, oddly enough. But
maybe try a wank.
I mean, if you're gonna if you're gonna brutally cut it, just brutally murder one of my favourites, second on the whole list.
Yeah, I think we are. I think we are. It's still the truth there. I don't want to be too flippant about it, but I hear you. I hear you, and listen. Maybe if you'd given me a bit of help in most anticipated when I was desperate for Splatoon. No. In all seriousness, it's never easy to lose a game you love. The problem is like I say, you're the only one who's even played it. I've got a copy. Yeah. I just have not had the time to do it.
And I also think that compared to other years of this podcast, obviously we have the biggest cast ever. So when there's one person championing a game, it's going to be even harder to get it further.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It makes sense.
If there's four of us,
I could suggest a cut that might soften the blow a little bit.
Are we cutting it, Lyle?
My vote's on no, but I don't think anyone else's is. So no, I think.
Can anyone back in, or is it going?
No, I think it's got to go.
Yeah, on the principle that every one of the cuts is 11.
Yes, of course it is. These are all fantastic games. That's why they're listed.
It's not a site. It's not going to get to the site top 10.
No, it isn't. Because it can't. Because, like you say, only one person's played it, and
I don't believe either will Back for Blood, which I'd suggest we could also cut, as that might help Lyle feel a little bit better that we lost.
That's a very kind offering.
Back for Blood is not quite on my top 10, and I think if it's not quite on my top 10, I'd be surprised if it's on any of yours. So, I mean, it's a good game. I
just realised I forgot to even mention it in my honourable mentions.
Yeah, I really like it. It's in my honourable mentions, but I think you can get rid of it. It's not going to make the site's top 10.
Yeah, I don't think it made best multiplayer, so I don't really see that.
No, I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
What's the gunk?
Not in the top 10.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So it's the new game by Image and Form, who made the SteamWorld series, who make the SteamWorld series. SteamWorld Dig, SteamWorld Quest, SteamWorld.
Did I edit someone's review of the gunk?
No.
Rings a bell.
Not yet.
Not yet. You haven't. No, because at the time we're recording this, that embargo hasn't lifted. So I hope not.
Okay.
It's not awful, but it's totally not a top 10 game, is it? I don't even know if I need to say any more than that, Lyle, do we?
No, I don't think we do. It's just it's
kind
nice
of
enough.
I wonder, had we played it when we were recording most biggest disappointment, I don't think it would have made a top 3,
but it might have made the list.
I think it would have made a short list. It is not the game I wanted that developer to make, and that's
fine.
That's
just it.
That's fine. They get to make whatever game they want to make, and I'm glad that's the way it is, because otherwise you would never get those ones to begin with. But it's a bit of a shame. It's fine. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a little bit lacking.
Lost in Brandon.
Yeah.
What? How dare you?
That's just been.
Galen's been trailblazing the week, Mick.
It's made every list with all credit to it.
But do you know the weird thing about this game is I feel like 6 or 7 years ago it wouldn't just be making the list; it would actually be higher up on lists. But it does. The more I've thought about that game, the more I feel like it's a bit out of time. It's a bit basic with everything it does. Like it's raison d'etre, if you will. The combat doesn't progress itself enough. It lays its stall out, it does its thing, and then that's it. And it's like, well, hang on, how long are you going to live off this? Because if you're going to live off this, it has to either be as good as a thing that's the very best of type, or you have to evolve it some form.
Exactly.
And it just doesn't. And
ironically, a lot of games on this list with combat do just that.
Do exactly that, yeah. So I don't see a world in which Lost in Random...
No, absolutely not.
No. I've got 3, which I think we'll all agree on.
Okay.
Outriders for Game of the Year. Like, we had a lot of fun with it.
Like, Game of the Year.
But like, it was fun. It was a lot of fun, but it's not Game of the Year, is it?
I really like Outriders.
I will make a note as an aside that it is on my list. So
it's not on mine.
It is one of my favourite games of the year, but not enough that I would fight for it necessarily against a lot of.
I think it's better than it has any right to be.
Well, I remember when it came out, and we were all a bit like down on it. Because there was not really a lot out about it, and we were all going, "Oh, it's just not a service game, but it is a service game."
It is, but they say
it is kind of now, isn't it?
We had a lot of fun with it, which is the main thing. But I don't think it makes the list. I would say Hot Wheels Unleashed doesn't make the list.
Yep,
that seems fair.
Yep, again, a lot of fun.
I think I'm the only one who's played it, haven't I?
No, I've played it.
You have. It's a good game.
Yeah.
But it isn't. It's not. It's not top 10.
And FIFA 22.
I'm fine. I'm fine with all 3 of those if you guys are.
Yeah.
They're not going to end up knocking on the door, I don't think.
Chris?
No.
Well played, sir.
Thank
that was
you.
absolutely... It was an ace of a serve. That was.
I know.
Absolutely magnificent.
Neo. World Ends With You.
Haven't played it.
Landed in anyone's top 10. That's a brilliant game.
How many have played it? Is it just you, Chris, or is other people played
Mick as well, I think.
It's just me and Chris.
Yeah. And Adam and I have wanted to play it, but haven't.
It's very good.
Absolutely
it's very,
should play
good.
it. It's incredible. But
I liked the demo.
Yeah, it's not a top 10.
It's not making our list.
No,
it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think WarioWare get it together.
I think I am the only one who's played that, aren't I?
Yeah, for the same reason.
I would have suggested that. Yeah.
Just before we just start hammering through them, because I do want to just say I really enjoyed. Like I think I said this actually earlier in the week. I'm starting to lose my memory, I think, as I get older. But I do think. Again, kind of better than I expected, that game. Like, really fun. Harks back to the kind of original, more simplistic, just move the joystick and press a button rather than having to do motion or draw. And I really appreciated that. And I like the sort of multiplayer thing, the multiplayer bent they went on with that. I think that was an interesting thing. I think we are in a... I don't want to sound like a fanboy, but I think we are in a kind of a golden age when it comes to Nintendo. Like, they are doing all their franchises again, but they are putting these spins on them that you play them and you're like... Fucking hell, they are really clever, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? Like when Mario Odyssey did it, when Zelda did it, we're playing all these franchises that we've all played since we were, day dot, and yet they just seem to be coming up with these clever ideas that make them feel like the first time you've ever played a video game again. And I really think we are, and I hope that continues. I really do. But yeah, it's definitely not a top 10 game for the God is a Geek team.
Forgotten City.
Yeah.
If Pokemon ain't making it,
I know Lyle loves it, but I mean, no one else has either played it or loves it as much. I don't think it makes the list.
No, and
I want to play it.
And we have talked a lot about it.
Say I will.
It's
had its airtime.
No, to be fair, credit to Lyle because I've downloaded it. I downloaded Psychonauts 2 and Forgotten City because of how you were talking about it and what it was it just sounded really interesting. So I've got that ready for Christmas.
On Psychonauts, I really can't. I
can't
wait.
Psychonauts
I can't wait. I'm gonna get Halo out of the way, and then that's my next one.
Yeah.
So we're cutting Forgotten City, aren't we?
I think so. Yeah. It got on Best Story, and it's been talked about a lot this week. I'm happy that it's got what
you've flown its colours, man. You've done. Yeah, absolutely.
Do we want to get spicy here for a minute?
Because
I've got one. I've got one. I think's a spicy cut. Or it might be one of those where everyone goes, "Yeah, you're probably right, actually." So should we go for it?
It's going to be one or the other, surely.
Go on.
Go yes or no.
And I think you're not going to expect it from me. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury.
Oh, no. That's
Can I explain why?
That is spicy.
Before we go past it. It is spicy. I don't... There are 22 games right now on this list. Super Mario 3D World game is a 10 out of 10 video game. I know that because I reviewed it on Wii U. And it was a 10 out of 10 then, and it's a 10 out of 10 now. I don't think it's right to celebrate a remake in that way when it is just like a re-released version of that game. It's not like a Demon's Souls where they went from scratch and started, a 20-year-old game or whatever. It is a couple of years old, put out on Switch to sell more copies with a Bowser's Fury was great fun. It doesn't feel right to me to have it on a top 10 when there are at least 10 games on this list that are brand new and unique.
I think that's quite a fair point.
Just feels a bit like...
I think, I never played the Wii U, so it was like a new game to me.
No, that's and totally fair.
But yeah.
Like it was on my personal list. This game was... I've been keeping 2 lists all year because I felt my personal list was going to have Super Mario on it, but we couldn't have it on the Game of the Year list because it was not a new game. And I've had 2 lists because of that all year, and I don't know if that's just me and if it's too spicy.
This is on my 10.
It's what I mean.
Hands down, it is. But we're a democracy on this podcast.
Let's say Psychonauts 2 misses the top 10 by 1, and it's because Super Mario 3D World, for example. That wouldn't feel right to me. It really wouldn't.
Yeah,
but it's a spicy cut. I admit.
I guess it depends which game you do that with. If you did that,
we can keep it for now. I'm just saying. I mean, maybe we should. Maybe we should keep it for now and see how we go. Because if it gets to that point, maybe we all do feel it is a top 10.
There are easier cuts on this list.
Okay, let's do that then. Let's hear an
Dark
easier
Pix's
cut.
Anthology House of Ashes isn't going to make this list because I think I'm the only one that's played it. So that's by the law of new Pokemon Snap. That's gone, right?
As someone who's not played this franchise for several installments, does Resident Evil Village make a top 10 for the site over the year? I don't know. I'm asking genuinely.
It definitely doesn't for me. I put it on biggest disappointment.
I'd be really upset with that in our top 10.
And I don't know at all. I didn't play it. I didn't play 7. Barely played 6.
For me, it took everything that the bits of 7 I didn't like were Resident Evil 8. So
I know Adam Carroll. Did you quite like this, right?
I'm happy for you to say this, Mick, because I have been sitting on this game and I was kind of going, fucking hell, if this goes into top 10, I'll be kind of aggravated.
I feel the same way. Yeah.
I don't think Village is.
It's not a bad game.
It's not a bad game, but it does a lot of shit. Mm-hmm. It does a lot of shit.
Too much.
There's a lot of cool stuff in it, but overall, I'm not remembering that game like I did with 7.
All I remember is the ending and thinking, so you basically made me play all this for nothing because you gave me no closure.
There's a ton of padding in ways. I feel like the actual village part itself is one of the most least interesting moments of that entire game.
It's a crossroads for you to travel through to get out the other end.
And you are staying there constantly, just going back and forth and repeating these moments of like enemies and stuff, and whatever. But the level of fear that Resi brought back within 7 was completely gone again. What I felt like the village was going to bring in, I thought it was going to be, we're going to get some fear here, and it starts off with that feeling, but overall, that game gets to a point where you're like, couple of Resident, I'm not scared whatsoever.
It's an action game.
By the way, can we just all say we're doing spoilers now because this is
sorry, I should have mentioned that at the start. We are now in the period where this is fighting for games' lives. There will be spoilers. That's kind of the only way it can work. So. Spoiler warning, Resident Evil Village.
I just want to say as well, like, as much as, like, yes, people can say, yeah, Resi is kind of ridiculous and you're not supposed to take it that seriously. That's fine, whatever, okay? The moment with Chris and the whole action-packed moment and stuff that you're playing him was fucking ridiculous.
It wasn't even that fun.
Like, it was kind of like, this just felt like that night vision mission in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
In ways. Like, I was just kind of like, okay, and then the machine was ridiculous. It was all just like, what is going on? What is going on? And I know there's people who can, well, that's just what it is. I'm like, nah, it's not the Resident Evil I know. And 7 had brought back to its roots and ways and kind of reinvented itself. Now I know, Chris, White, you're very passionate about Village in a way.
Yeah, but like,
but as it
when I was playing it back when it came out, I had a lot of fun with it. But then when you look back, like when we did the spoiler cast, for example, like a lot of the story it's frustrating, especially when you've gone through the last 2 games with Ethan, and then what happens to him at the end. It just feels like it just feels ridiculous. Like after all he's been through, I mean, the hand thing was the start of the end. Like when you look back to that story.
Well, like when we I was just saying, when we see the hand thing, it's just like, okay, and I think we might have said this on the previous day, but like that hand moment was just a moment where it happens and you're thrown off for like a couple of hours after that. And and just with regarding Ethan Winters, I'm going to say this straight out. He is easily my least favorite Resident Evil character from that game. 7, no problem.
I think
in Village, he is so painful.
They've got a problem because most developers or publishers, when they get to this stage, what they do is they go, we have gone as far as we can go. Back to the start, lads, remake it. They can't do that because they've done it. Like, they've not just remade one of them, they've remade the first 3. Twice one of them has been re-released.
They'll remake 4, won't they?
They definitely will remake 4, but I mean, in terms of Resident Evil, 9...
No, I know what you mean.
Most wouldn't get that far. They'd go back, and they can't.
At the point of reviewing, I'd played about...
That's right, yeah.
4 hours of Resi 7.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Right, so I'd play that without seeing the whole of that pan out. So then I went back to 7 and played it in the space of like 2 nights, and I was like, this is hands down what Resident Evil should and could be from now. And it's like Village is like Resi 5, whereas Resi 7 is like they've reinvented the survival horror. To bring it to the modern age.
Yeah. What did another mistake they made in Village? You were out of that castle too quickly. That castle was atmosphere. It's what you know Resi 4 really in ways, and it's just unreal, the atmosphere. And you're there for her as well, the character that we were fucking seeing all the time leading up to that game, and then you're just like, all right, this is very.
I still feel that was marketing that got out of hand.
Absolutely,
100%.
I don't even think they expected.
I don't think they expected that level
to run away like it did.
They should have. I don't think they did, and I think that they never planned to reveal, because you think about the way you encounter Lady Dimitrescu, like she is the first baddie. They were never going to reveal anything beyond that because that's spoiling the game. But by doing it the way they did it, which is again, and I think they did the same with 7, like with Jack. Like they're never going to reveal all the bosses from all the what ruin the game before it's out. No. But because of then what the internet did to it, I think you were always going to walk away from that game going, oh wow. Okay, fine. And I'm
very surprised personally. That's quite a surprise for me because I thought I was going to be like, this is going to be going in top 10, I'd say.
I think it's a fair cut. I think we're all in agreement. So
cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Can I suggest one?
Yeah, of course you can.
And I don't think there'll be an argument on it. I think Far Cry 6.
Yeah, that's
that was mine.
That's for me, right? This is top 5, but I'm not going to argue it because I know it's just another Far Cry game, right? But for the time the time in my year when I played it, it was the game I needed more than anything to just
100%
to just play and just fucking not think about it. It's like when you pick a blockbuster that's just sort of explosions and shit. Like it's the perfect. It was a perfect game for the perfect time, but it isn't doing anything massively different.
It very much for me. It was like Just Cause 3 in that sense, like in very many ways, which is essentially what you've just said. Like you literally, the joy of that game is just like you say, you just escape and having fun and blowing shit up, like you say. But that obviously, then if that's Far Cry 6, that's a bit reductive, but you know what I'm saying. Like it is that.
Yeah.
6 still looks great, and it has there's just, as you said, Chris, there's so much fun to be had in it. It does exactly what it says in the tin for a Far Cry game, but it's not going to make our top 10. We're not. You've taken so many elements for a game for Game of the Year.
Yes.
Like, and that's just like it does lack story and things like that. Like in terms of like something I will be attached to, you know. But like, fuck it, that'll go down on sale, and it's definitely still worth a pickup. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Jesus,
and I think
they've never
they've
boring.
got the fun element now. Like as it goes into like the DLC and the free stuff, they've got a great roadmap coming up, and not just including like the stuff with the villains like that they're doing. Like they've already done Voss, they're doing Pagan Min, and then they're going to do Joseph Seed. Like that stuff's cool. But then the stuff we talked about on one of the normal pods with like Danny Trejo and like the Stranger Things Upside Down stuff that's coming to it. Like it's all about fun, and they know that now. And I think like for a game this year, it takes your mind off things, and it's just fucking nuts and fun and great and
totally fair
and all that. But it's not doing things that other games in this list have done, like Returnal, for example. Like it's not going to make a 10. It's not.
So if
I'm not going to.
No,
I'm not. Sorry, I'm not going to fight for it.
Okay, so I'll cut Far Cry 6. Do we want to get spicy again yet, or not? I've got another one.
I have a spicy one as well. I'm afraid to say it.
I've had one spicy one. You go for another spicy one.
No, right now?
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell fuck yeah.
Jesus.
Fucking swearing, yes.
I feel that this is going to be argued for the top 10. I don't know if it should be. I didn't click with it as much as everyone else, and that game is Death's Door.
I haven't
played it, so it doesn't even get a vote from me.
I'm just going to say that, look, this is the most recent of these games that I've played and finished. And, like, this game it's gotten praise this year. It's really loved by a ton of people.
Yeah.
So the buzz was really making me want to get on this, you know. And I've heard all the things, the Zelda fucking references, all this kind of stuff. I think this game looks really cool. I think there's a lovely art style going on. I love the music. Story it's the idea is sound.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, lads, like the gameplay didn't do it for me. It's not that it's bad. I was just like, whatever. I wasn't in love with it. It takes quite a bit of time for you to get those upgrades, and you're just hacking and slashing for so long at the start, and I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. And like you so early on in the game, like it's not unfair in its difficulty whatsoever. I think it's a very fair challenge, that game. But I was dying at a point like so early in the game where I was like, I'm not dying here because of my playing. I'm dying because I don't really have much else to use, and I just have to watch myself a bit more. And that fun element was kind of a bit like, okay, I'm just annoyed knowing I got killed. I don't know. Look, people fucking love it. I think it's an alright game. I think it's okay.
Like that, I'm exactly with you. I was playing it. I just sort of like, I got like sort of 3 or 4 hours in, and I think I messaged you, Adam, and I sort of said, do I need to keep playing this? Is there something exciting just around the corner? And you said like, oh, maybe give it another hour or so. But I did, and I just, nothing really ever clicked as being this like fantastic game that's doing anything particularly new or exciting for me.
And there's always that one little indie game that comes out.
Yeah.
It's unfair to call it a little indie game.
No.
But there's always that one type of game that comes out every year, I feel. And the hype level is so extreme that I'm just like,
I think the criticism I'm not... So it's not in my top 10. Okay. But I think I do disagree with a portion of the criticism there, because I do think the game is quite skill-based in terms of... I do agree that I think the upgrades could be dealt a bit quicker. I think there can be lengthy periods, but I never played that game feeling I was being hard done by in terms of difficulty. Like I think the boss I struggled with the most was maybe the castle one, because I was learning understanding the game and its mechanics. But then I realized actually once you learn the mechanics, this is easy because it's like a Souls game, only it's top down, so it can't really get around me in 3D. I've only got to focus on what I can see from a top down perspective. So I never found that an issue. I do agree I'm surprised that it's one that's been going that people are going for, but it's not in my top 10, so I'm not fighting for it.
Yeah, like just to say about the skill upgrades and stuff like they dish it out like I can't remember if it's like in whatever points or currency kind of thing.
It's like you collect stuff and you can upgrade.
But you pay like 400 for the first one, 600 for the next.
Yeah,
upgrade,
it's quite large upgrades.
Yeah, and I remember then I was like, all right, cool, this is how it's doing. Okay, grand. And like I upgraded the sprint like 400 paper. There was no fucking difference.
No, that takes a long time to get.
And you know, it's kind of that kind of design was kind of like, for fuck's sake, I wish I used it on something else then, because
I wouldn't have recommended that.
I know, but like it's not that like I wanted to be going faster, but I just felt like maybe with a bit more speed I could avoid attacks or whatever.
No, I totally get why you've gone for that, but I just had I don't know. It does. You can keep upgrading, and it does eventually get quicker, but it's more about attacking and motion in terms of the dodge than the actual speed. I really like Death's Door, like it's in my mentions. But again, I mean, Mick's saying he's not played it, Lyle's saying cut it, Adam's saying cut it. I'm saying cut it, I think, as well. Chris's?
It's not in my top 10.
I think it is in yours, isn't it, Chris?
Chris Hyde, Paul.
Yeah, it's like it is in mine. I do think the combat's really good. I think it's very responsive. I think I agree with what you said, Adam, in the sense that
which one?
It's not revolutionary, but I think
which Adam?
What it does incredibly well. You know. Right. But I mean, look, if I'm the only one, it's not going to be our site's top 10. If I'm the only one saying yes, and everyone else saying
it doesn't sound like it's that high on your list that you want to die on a hill for it either.
No, it's probably. I haven't ordered my list yet.
No,
but
it sounds like it's
in the top 10. It's probably.
I feel there will be a few people who will be quite
absolutely
irritated by that.
This will be number one on people's lists for something. How are we feeling? Because I've still got my spicy one in the pocket.
I've got one. I've got one that I don't think will be spicy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do we want to go back to just the regular cuts, or do we want another absolutely
yeah, because I've got one that I think is going to be spicy for sure. So.
Well, that's what we're saying. Do we want? So we've got two spices.
Maybe let's have Chris's.
Let's hold the spice. Let's hold the spice, and let's have have a korma. Let's have a korma from Chris.
Okay. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Yeah.
I haven't even played it.
So. No, lovely game.
It
looks gorgeous. I'm
sure I'll love it when I do play it, which I will eventually.
It looks great. The weapons are good. For me, like the Rift stuff is really good at the very start of the game, and they
don't go far enough with it.
They don't do anything more with it, and that's a shame. No. And we talked about Rivet and Ratchet being quite similar and stuff. So it's very, very good. But to get into this top 10, I feel like it probably needs to do a bit more than what it ended up doing. But still, a great game, really good. But I think it doesn't make this list.
Wow.
I thought
spicier than he thought it was going to be.
Wow. Is everyone disagreeing with me?
No, I agree with you. I love this game, but it doesn't. I think for me, games that make this list are ones that this time next year you still have like this almost like faded memory, and you think, "God, yeah, that was so." I don't think this is quite that lives in the memory game. Quite, and I think that's more because it's another one of those, but prettier, and that's really reductive. But it is.
This is a really shitty statement towards it, but like this is just how I felt when I had the game and I started. I was like, cool. This is a lot of fun. My God, it looks amazing. That entire week when I was going to work, never once did I think in my head, can't wait to go home and play Ratchet and Clank.
Can't wait to get home and play Ratchet and Clank.
And I know that sounds
No.
But
there are probably a lot of games on this list where you were feeling like that.
There are games on this list that I've been itching to get back to.
Yeah.
I haven't played Ratchet and Clank, so I'm not saying that wouldn't a bit, but
yeah,
like it has to have that feeling to make that list,
Chris White.
I think he's the only one. So
get rid of Mario then.
Which one? Oh, there's only one on there.
Yeah.
I thought you liked Mario.
Yeah, but I fucking adore Ratchet and Clank.
Well, we're not deleting it. It's up to you.
Well, yeah, we are deleting it, aren't we?
Because no one's murdering it, please.
No one's going to stick up for it, but fucking hell, like this was top 5 for me.
Was it?
I adored this game. I loved it.
No, I know.
But
no, if you
yeah, but there's other games that I'm going to be more pissed.
You got to make a statement on it. You should make a statement on this now.
I haven't got the.
I want to hear the speech.
Think of last year how hard we had to go for Ghost of Tsushima to keep it in some of those.
I know.
Sometimes you've got.
And then I played it this year, and I was like,
yeah, but it doesn't sound like.
Right.
I get what Adam Cook is saying though. I get what you're saying, but I just loved it.
No, I did too. I did too.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just liked having that game that was just.
And
I just had so much fun with it, like different guns and everything, and like all the other side shit. And I don't know. I think it's a masterpiece. I
think for me, it's one of those because I've played every one of them, even the bad ones, and I think for me, it's probably that I have a bee in my bonnet about like I really hate it with next gen stuff or now current gen stuff where they just make another one of these games. Not this. I don't mean Ratchet. I mean any game where they just make another one, but it looks better. I hate the idea that the only thing you can gain or glean even from a new generation of consoles is, well, yeah, it all looks and runs better now. Like I'd like to think that you can, yes, that's a byproduct of there being more powerful hardware that is, say, 6 to 10 years down the line from the last hardware. That's the bare minimum. Of course it should look better. This is 6 years old, this other hardware. I want more. And Ratchet, like for me, I see what they did with like the kind of semi-open bits, and I really enjoyed them. I would like them to have gone just a bit further with it. Like it could have been bigger, if that makes sense.
I just want to say quickly though, if this does come to it, and this, Chris, you're going to lose your mind again.
Don't. I'm
just going to say this right now that like if Ratchet goes, and if there's an overall consensus of Guardians getting top 10, I'll be steaming, because Ratchet is definitely better than Guardians, in my opinion, definitely. In its gameplay, in its presentation, it's a far, far superior game than Guardians. Guardians has a great story. I understand. I hear it. That gameplay is not great.
I'd be very surprised if Marvel's makes the top 10 for the side.
Yeah, so right, to be fair. But I mean,
no, we can just kill them both.
I'd be okay if you did. I think I really like Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy.
I would cut it for the same reason Adam's just said. Is I think I prefer Ratchet and Clank as a package, as a game.
I know, Chris, you love both those games.
There's a lot of games on this list that he loves, though. I don't want people to think we're cutting all of Chris's games. Like, there's a lot on here he loves. Yeah.
I think if I'd sooner fight for Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy than some of the games on this list.
I think Marvel's has hung in there quite a long time, given that
maybe it has.
Chris and Lyle haven't played it. Adam actively dislikes it, and I'm like, I like it, but.
Well,
we could cut them both, and we're down to 16 still.
Will we hold a second? Will we hold forward a second? Because
but we were already holding Super Mario. Now we're holding Ratchet, Super Mario, and Marvel. We can't keep holding games. I mean, what's the next one? And we hold another one.
I'm very fucking surprised by the Mario chat. I think we're very much underselling what Bowser's Fury did.
It's 6 hours, and that's if you 100% it. It's a 3-hour game. It's a 3-hour edition. I'm not arguing it's top. I reviewed it. I gave it 10 out of 10. It's a 3-hour bonus that if you want to 100%, you can double that on top of a game that was on Wii U and it's had multiplayer online added to it. Like I'm not trying to make it sound like it's shit because I reviewed it and gave it 10. But I think
I might have said this on the pod before, but I actually prefer Bowser's Fury to 3D World.
But you can't. That's not a thing you can buy. You can't go to Nintendo and say, "Oh, well, I've played that before. Can I just download this as a standalone?" Which, in theory, you should be able to because it is separate. It is separate on the menu. It is a completely separate thing. And
maybe if they'd done that, nobody would be considering taking it off a list. But it is what it is.
I would have to argue that the draw to that title is the original game due to the fact that nobody bought a Wii U.
I did.
I did too, and again, I reviewed the original game.
I'm not feeling the passion for Mario so in the overall room. So if that's going to be cut, then just cut it then, because I'm very surprised that it came out of your mouth, Adam Cook.
You know how much I love that game. I think that is one of the best 3D Marios.
I'm comfortable with all those going. To be fair, I mean Marvel's is on my list, but as you say,
well, we got to vote. Let's vote for these 3 games, and then we can move on. Votes for Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Cutting, yay or nay? I vote to cut. Chris Hyde?
Brief, let me just scan down this list.
Okay, Adam Carroll?
Nay.
No, so 1-1. Chris White?
Cut.
2. Say again, sorry, I thought because you shook your head and said cut. So the people on video are like, oh, what? Hey, what? So 2-1 to cut. Mick Fraser?
Cut.
3-1 to cut. Lyle?
Cut.
4-1.
Didn't even have to say anything.
Well, you do, because I want to hear it. I want to hear you say it. Whisper it into your mic. Lean forward and whisper it into your mic.
Fucking say it, Chris. Fucking say it.
I'd probably cut it. it.
Right.
But it's close. It's fucking close. I'm not as heartless as Mick.
I haven't played it, so it's easy cut for me.
It's Lyle then, sorry.
I fucking hate Mario.
All right.
Well,
that's the statement of the fucking entire fucking
certainly one way to announce you're never going to be on a Game of the Year podcast again, isn't it? Certainly one way.
Joke.
Right, and same we're doing the same.
Mario.
Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart. I vote to cut. Chris Hyde?
Well, I nominated it, so yeah.
Okay, so 2 cuts. Adam Carroll?
Damn. Come back to me there in a second.
Chris White?
Keep.
2-1. Mick Fraser?
Cut.
3-1. Lyle?
Cut.
4-1. You two need to vote.
I'm going to say keep.
4-2.
Only because it doesn't matter now.
Yeah, cowardice. Before we cut it, we're going to do the same with Marvel's Guardians. I vote to cut. Chris Hyde?
I've not played it, so I've got a cut, I guess, because I
Adam
haven't
Carroll?
played it.
It's fine, it's fine.
God.
3. Chris White?
Keep.
Oh man, I feel so bad.
Mick Fraser?
I would keep it.
3-2. Lyle?
Murder.
4-2. They've both got to go, haven't they?
Yeah.
When you've done these as long as I've done, you stop like feeling bad for other people. Like it's sort of, over the years of doing Game of the Year, I've basically been
Look at him, he's
stripped of emotion.
crestfallen.
We're supposed to feel
He's the
bad.
broken shell of a man. Look at him.
Well, you see,
I'm
I
going to ask one. I don't want to hurt him.
well, this is the
even
thing.
more,
I don't
but-
want to
come
go.
on!
I don't want to give my spicy cut just yet. Now, I think I'm going to
No,
hold my
don't do
spicy
that.
cut. I think
I've-
Nick,
I
you
don't know
should
if my
too.
spicy cut.
No, I
might
think
be the
Chris
same
White
as
should
your
cut one.
spicy cut.
I think it might be. I think we let Chris do some cuts now. You know, at least-
Fucking nail one, Chris. Get some vengeance.
Come on, Chris. What are you cutting?
Once
Near
over eyes,
replicant.
haven't you?
Huh?
Oh, I was going to say near replicant.
Oh, fuck
so-
me! That was my spicy cut.
Yeah.
And same. So,
Wow.
Cut it.
Wow.
isn't
okay.
it a remake that doesn't? Does it do? It's
Oh,
You can't
it's-
cut Mario and keep Nier.
that's
I
what
know it
was
only
gonna
came out in the West.
say.
In the
I was
East.
gone.
But
I was gone.
See, fuck me, you're making me want to bring Mario back now. I feel like I made a terrible mistake.
You did
it's
make a terrible
gone. It's
mistake.
gone.
No, it hasn't gone. We've not
No,
finalised
you can't
anything.
bring it.
Yes, you can.
No.
The list is not
No.
final until it's read out.
Bring them all back then, and we'll discuss them
No,
all
no,
again.
no,
We voted against Mario, didn't we?
Mario got shat on.
Well, a lot of games get shat on.
Absolutely
That's
shat on.
the process.
Like,
I think the point we're saying is that we have to cut Nier, though, right?
I think so.
yeah.
I mean, 3 of us said straight away, and then
I really love
we
this
don't know
game.
what
I
anybody
really
else
love
is
it.
going to argue.
But
Replicant's
I'm looking at some
phenomenal.
of the others going, I think there's going to be more group passion for 5 more games. Like
I think it's fair to say, and you can stop me if I'm wrong, but I think it's fair to say that if Bowser's Fury had been released as a standalone thing, whether it was 3 hours, 2 hours, 6 hours, I think it would have stayed on the list. I think for the reasons that you guys gave, I haven't played it, I've got no dog in that particular fight. I think for the reasons that the guys gave who wanted it cut, it should remain cut. I also think Near Replicant should be cut.
I am really. This is the genuinely. This is not host mode. I am genuinely the most torn up I've ever been on this podcast because
Who would have voted to keep Mario? Though?
But
I was close.
We didn't vote
but
on
man,
that, did we?
this is what I'm
I
trying to
think
say.
cut.
Like that, it was the host in me that was like, well, it was not a new game. It's one
Yeah,
of
but
the,
no
I
one-
really did enjoy the Bowser's Fury part.
But I think only Adam
And I
really,
100%
really
that without
argued
even
against it
blinking.
being
Chris
cut.
White
It
was
was
nearly
one
in
of those
tears
games.
over that one.
It was
I-
one of
He
those
was,
games.
he was almost in tears about Ratchet and Clank.
I
as well.
wouldn't
He keeps
cut
crying,
Mario,
cried all
but-
night.
But you that persuaded me, saying it was a game from
Don't
last
listen to me,
year.
mate, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Well,
That
then
was
that's
years ago.
same with Near
Remember-
Replicant.
Remember the sheer fucking joy that Bowser's Fury provided. It was nobody had played it.
Oh,
it was
brilliant.
all. It was all.
Put them all back. Go back to 31.
I'm bringing Mario back. I don't think we cut it yet.
Still got a chance.
I think Mario still stays until.
You've also brought
until we
Death's
get
Door
to.
back.
No, I haven't.
You
Yes, I have.
It's on my list.
Sorry, pressed one too many. I think we cut Mario too soon. I think I'm changing my vote. I want to keep it. I think I was of the opinion it cuts because it's kind of like the right thing to do, if that makes sense. But if it's God is a Geek's collective group of top 10 of the year, then fuck everyone else. Quite frankly, that's what we're here to do. We're not here to please people. We're here to vote for our. Nier Replicant, on the other hand, was my spicy cut. No, Nier, I think can go.
I think Nier's safe.
I think Nier has to go. I don't think there's enough love compared to other games for it.
So we're down to 15. Should we have a quick recap? Okay.
I'm just going to cut Hitman 3.
Okay.
You're going to cut it?
Yep.
I'm going to cut it.
I thought you were going to fight for that. That's fine.
You see, now I would have. I looking at the list, I'd have said maybe yeah, but I mean, regardless of.
No,
it's a phenomenally well-made video game. Like, regardless of anything else, it's so polished.
But man, that argument is the same for every 15 of these games. Every one of these. They're all right, fine. They're all these games are really well made and great games. They've made a top 15.
Fucking brilliant, though.
It shits the bed with the story, and it shits the bed with that last level. That last level's dreadful.
I think all Hitman games shit the bed with the story a little bit. They've all been.
Well, that's why they're not making lists, though, isn't it? I mean, that's not an excuse for them.
Well, no, because it's not a Hitman. We didn't vote for it best story, did we?
But that's ours. If you include a story that's 3 games long and you develop that story throughout, and then at the end of that trilogy you shit the bed. Sorry, that's not good enough. They were the ones that made you care about the Hitman story, and I know there'll be people going like, "Oh yeah, but who cares about Hitman's story?"
I never cared about it.
Well, I did.
Played him in whatever order and whatever.
I didn't. No way.
For me, it's always been about the level, the mechanics, the replay.
Yeah, but what you're describing there, playing them in any order, for me, is like reading the book, starting in the middle and ending at the front. Like it's a coherent narrative that they have designed, and it's bad.
Yeah, but they give you the option to not as well. So I mean, you can't say it's not a viable way to play the game.
It's an option, but they even tell you not to do it. If they say, "You sure you've watched this? Are you sure you've played this?" In fact, I'm not sure you can just start on the 5th level.
No, I don't think you can. You've got to unlock it. But I mean, I don't play the Hitman games for the story. I play them for everything you can do within those little sandboxes they give you, which I think they do better than probably anybody else. I don't think any other game has that level of choice, and I mean, that mission with the racetrack, for Christ's sake, the options. But
nobody does play them the way that everyone shows them on YouTube videos. No one plays those games like that.
I don't care what anyone else does. This is Alex.
You don't do it though.
I do. No, but I do go for the challenges. I do replay things. I do experiment with them. I think it's just to say it's off. I mean, I didn't play fucking Super Mario, but I don't get a vote whether that's on the list or not. I'm just saying.
You literally had a vote if that was on the list. You literally did.
Okay, but my vote wouldn't have counted because I haven't played it. But what I'm saying
still would have counted.
Hitman 3, I think was. I don't think it's worth just pulling off the list. But
5 of them have to go.
Yeah, I know. But I have enjoyed Hitman 3 more than fucking Tales of Arise, for example.
Oh, that you are out, mate.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I'm giving you my opinion. We're not here to give opinions, or we're here to say whatever.
You could have picked any other game, and you picked the wrong one there.
No, I didn't, because in my opinion, I mean, that's what we're doing, isn't it?
It is, but it's a collective. It's not your opinion that forms the top 10 any more than it is mine. It's a collective, and
well, fine, fair enough.
No, we're not. I'm not saying we're cutting it. I'm just you've said yours. I've said mine.
So, Chris, White, Hitman 3.
I don't have an opinion anymore on Hitman 3.
Dirty fucker.
No, look, the only reason I've suggested it is I
couldn't remember who suggested it, if I'm honest. It was like, wait,
right,
guys,
but I don't think it's fair to cut Ratchet and Clank because it doesn't really do anything else. When Hitman 3 doesn't do anything else.
To do the impression.
Bring Ratchet and Clank back.
No, because it's not going to stay. But like Hitman 3 literally does one or two things, small things it adds, but you can't remember them.
I can, and I don't think they're very good.
Look, hang on now a second. Hold up now a second. Small things. We got to take into account here the level design in Hitman 3, in all the Hitmans, is what I'm not going in for story. I don't fucking care. That game's creativity, what it lets you do, and just the level design in general. I had it in best moment, I realized it wasn't best moment, but that Dartmoor level is easily one of the best gaming.
No, I know, but like
year.
Sapienza from Hitman was an incredible level. And it was just as it was big, if not bigger than Dartmoor.
It was bigger, yeah.
But they all. It's how you play them what makes them. They've not done anything new. Yeah. And I just don't think you can't just get rid of Ratchet and Clank because it's just fancier looking. It has so much good gameplay in, and I just don't think that's fair.
What's new with Hitman is every time it's just the challenge and the obstructions that are ahead of you. That's what
the second game did as well. They've had 3 games to get this now. Like I don't see what 3 did that much better than 2. In fact, I'd argue that there are levels in 3 that are worse. There are also levels in 3 that are better. Like you say, Dartmoor. I particularly like the I can't remember the name of it, but the one with the winemaking level that I'm really spacing on the name of. But that one I particularly enjoyed because that's the first time in all of the trilogy I felt like a badass because I did it so quick. But I never feel that normally. I always do it the same fucking way because I never quite master the rules, if that makes sense, of the mechanical rules of the game. I never quite master them. What are we cutting?
Monster Hunter Stories 2.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
It's
brilliant.
It is on my top 10, but I appreciate that it wouldn't be on everyone.
I haven't played it. That's all I'm saying. I just know that that's just the next one.
It went off my top 10 as the year went on.
Same.
I think it's really cool, but there are things I don't like about it that much. I think there's not really that big a variety of the monsters, so it feels like sometimes you have the same combat encounter.
Please, monsters,
sorry.
No, actually, you were right. It's monsters you're talking about, wasn't it? Sorry. You're quite right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I'll cut that, make myself look a bit better.
I don't know, because I feel like I had more fun with Stories 2 than I did with Rise in the end.
Come both then. Brilliant, job done.
And I love both of those games. I don't think I've given a 10 this year at all, but I think both those games came pretty close. I don't know. I think Monster Hunter Stories 2 did some really, really good stuff. I didn't play the first one, and I think a lot of people said, well, if you played the first one, the second one wasn't all that different. You know, they didn't really mix up the formula much. So
no, this is what
I probably feel differently. But it like how it presented the game compared to what I know of the, because I'm not someone who's played Monster Hunter since its inception. I played it since fucking World. So how it mixed up the formula but kept it like quintessentially Monster Hunter, I thought was really clever. I don't know. I'd feel uncomfortable cutting both the Monster Hunter games.
What are we cutting? We're not cutting anything at the moment. We're just talking about every game and going, we'll cut it. No, we won't. We have to cut 5 games. This is the only way we can move forward. So
I can make you quite sad, Adam, and talk about Knockout City.
I have been prepared for this moment for 4 days.
And I know you love it, and I feel bad.
No, you shouldn't feel bad, mate. It's on my list. I think it's a phenomenal game from a developer that has no pedigree as such, that's been backed by a publisher. I remember talking to them, and they were explaining how lots of publishers were interested, but they were all a bit like, what about this? And they were like, nope. And I think it's remarkable that EA have had 3 independent games, essentially, they put on their, I forget what the label's called, EA something. I was under no illusions that I would be able to keep this in a top 10. It's in mine, but I was under no illusions I would be able to keep it in this top 10 because I don't think Mick's played it. I'm not sure Adam's played it.
I played it a bit. It was in my honourable mention.
If I can just explain,
2 hours I've played.
If I can explain why it's an important game to me, is that I have become. I don't want to get too deep or too serious, or too personal, really. In a year where I've gone from being. I've become less social because of the way my work works. And I think that's true for a lot of people. Like, Chris Hyde works from home. You see less people. I never realised that was a problem for me, if that makes sense. I was, from being a kid, I was always of the opinion that if everyone just went out and left me on my own all day, I'd be like, quid's in, I'm happy. I've realised this year I'm not that person. Maybe I was, but I'm not anymore. And I miss interacting with people. Don't necessarily miss the environment or where I would have interacted with them, but I miss people because I'm not seeing them as much. I'm becoming more solitary because of the world, because of my job. Knockout City was the one this year where it got me back online, desperate for everyone. I can't wait. Who's on tonight? Who's on tonight? I can't wait for more. And that then actually kick-started almost my love of multiplayer again. Like you always play a bit of multiplayer because you have to for the job. If it's part of the game, you got to play it. But this was one of those where I was like, I really enjoy this. I forgot I enjoyed this. And then Halo came along later in the year, and it kind of, if this was the lit match, this was the gunpowder. Like Halo was the gunpowder that was like, yeah, you really enjoy chatting to people and having a laugh and being silly and playing games. You're not that person that you thought you were. You're actually somebody else in that respect. So fine, totally cool. It's no one else has that exact specific moment, emotion, feeling. I think Knockout City is a tremendous game, and they've done everything they can possibly fucking do to get people playing it. They made it free at launch. They put it in Game Pass. They made the first X levels free. Just play it. Download it and have a go on it. You might find, like me, you really, really enjoy it. It's a shooter. Don't be put off by the dodgeball. It's a shooter. But if it's cut, it's
I wasn't expecting to like it at all. When you guys were telling me about it, I was like, that doesn't look like something I'd enjoy.
It's simplistic, but the design is immaculate, I think. Am I cutting it?
I would back it if there was voting for it, but if there's not, then
I thought you suggested to
cut
it.
No,
sorry, Lyle did.
Yeah,
that was me. But
if we were voting for it or against, I would vote for it to stay. But I get it. I'm glad it's another one that's had. We've talked about it a few times. I think it's had its.
What are we doing?
Colours flown.
I'd cut it.
Yeah.
I would cut it too.
It's got to go. You can't have three people trying to cut a game. I don't, Chris Hyde. I don't think you would, but maybe you would.
No. I think for me, I'm just looking down the list, check I'm not missing something. Maybe 3 games on this list where
you'd cut
what you've described in terms of like multiplayer, but also people, us group, and also people within the Patreon community. Yes. Playing online, and for me, I just love that. Like it's what I was saying about like Animal Crossing last year. We'll talk about it, I'm sure, in some other games that are going to come up. And I love that aspect of it, and I love the little community that we've got. And this is one of those games that we played together, so it's always got a place in my heart because of that.
Yeah.
But if there's 3 negatives, I think we have to cut it.
Can't make it top 10.
I didn't want to shout that because I've enjoyed all the games, I've played with all the patrons, and I think they're a great bunch of people.
I think Chris Hyde, you haven't cut one in a while, and I think maybe it's your turn. You can't be Mr. Nice passive there. I think you got to get stuck in and get your trousers off down a bit. And
I mean, I was gonna agree with Hitman 3. I would also agree with Monster Hunter Stories 2.
I mean, if Hitman 3 is 4 against 2, I mean, I love it, and it's in my top 10.
I'm just gonna say, I also love it.
There's one game on this list that I didn't really get on with, but I think a lot of everyone else did, so it's probably not going to get cut. But everything else on this list that I've played, I think is great. So it's just now you're comparing and you're competing.
Do we vote for Hitman?
I would say we do.
Because we are down to the business end here. Yeah. But I think before we vote for Hitman, I think we just take a little moment here and we revisit the 14 and we just say, is there anything on there that you, the selected 6 people, feel strongly should be cut?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So at the moment we have Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter Stories 2. We have Tales of Arise. We have Deathloop. We have Metroid Dread, It Takes 2, Returnal, Psychonauts 2, Scarlet Nexus, Hitman 3, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Halo Infinite, Forza Horizon 5, and Life is Strange True Colours. Now, before we vote on Hitman 3, anyone have a game where they're like, this should go? Come on, lads, this should go.
I have
slowly but surely shifted Monster Hunter Stories 2 from the top of my list to off my list over the course of the last sort of maybe 2 or 3 weeks even, with some of the games I've been sort of powering through. I think there's a couple of games on there I feel really strongly I want to stay, which I won't say what they are yet till we get to them. I think probably Monster Hunter Stories 2, if no one else is going to fight for it, I'd say that could probably go That's my opinion.
It is on my top 10, but I don't think it makes the site's overall top 10.
If it survives in my top 10, it's back end. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, no,
now.
I think I'm trying to think. I think it was my number 9. I think it was my number 9.
And at one point, it was my number 1.
Yeah, it was way higher up my list, but it's just been
so much recently.
Yeah. I know we say it a lot, but it's been a good year, right?
Yeah.
For games.
Yeah.
For games. Yeah, sorry, to be really clear. Yeah.
So we're going to 13 with that gone. So we do need to vote on Hitman, don't we? We need to know. Let's go the other way around the room as you see it if you're watching the video. We'll start with Lyle. Cut or keep Hitman?
I guess cut.
Cut. Okay. Mick?
Keep.
And that's 1-1. Chris White?
Cut.
2-1. Adam Carroll?
Keep.
2-0. Chris White? Hyde?
Cut.
Oh, wrong one. Cut. And I vote cut. 4-2.
Fair.
I think, to be honest, at this stage, there's going to be a lot of 4-2s because they're
Yeah.
really good games.
Yeah.
Well, let's... fucking hell.
This is tough now because there's only a couple of games left on the list that I haven't played.
Well, the issue is here now is that you're into the territory of you've got your all got your own top 10s, and you want to fight for the ones that are left that are on your top 10s.
I'm sorry, but
yeah,
does Life is Strange: True Colors finish in the site's top 10? We've talked about it a lot. It's definitely. I'm not knocking it. I haven't played it, but
I have.
Does it hit the site's top 10 of the year?
I have gone away and played the entirety of Life is Strange after the shock horror. These aren't genuinely recorded all one day after another. We have lives. I have now gone away. I'd be honest, I did it in a couple of days. I played through this game. I do not change my stance on anything I have said about Life is Strange in terms of the story of this video game. I do believe that everything I've fought against was true. However, it would be my number 10. As a game, and this is, remember, we're not voting for the individual components now. This is as a game.
And
it would be my 10.
And so I guess to get a sense of where it might sit as a, because if it's Adam's, Carol's, and Chris's number 10, it's a cut. But if it's Adam and Chris's 1,
I don't suspect it is, but
we might have a conversation. But I think
that's fair.
So where in, don't need exact number, but are we talking top 3, or are we talking near the bottom for you two as well, in terms of your personal top 10?
I think what you're asking is, look, is this actually an easy cut for the group?
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to get to that stage, or is it a tough one for the group?
For me, as much as I love this game, it didn't make my top 10. I'm sorry, but it didn't.
Right.
It's got to go. It's got to go,
It's got to go then, surely.
Yeah.
Did it win a category? Remind me.
No,
but it has
been nominated a lot. It came second in Best Story, which the irony being is that I would actually disagree with, having now played it. I've played it now, and I would disagree with but it's, fuck it.
What I'm saying is, I'm glad it made a list because obviously Mr. Carroll's very passionate about a lot of this game, and I feel bad even suggesting it at this point. But
there's still
I don't
problems.
Think it has enough backing.
There's still problems. They still haven't quite got transitions right. In that you're looking at this emotional scene and then bam, black screen loading in the bottom corner, music's cut where you were listening. They still don't quite deal with dialogue overlapping correctly. But it's really strange, Life is Strange. It's really strange that I actually think this is probably the best one, and it's not by the people who made the originals at all. It looks the best. I had issues with it on PC. There's some really weird stuttering. I don't know if that was the game or the PC. Just a really, really good game. Really good game. That's why it hit my 10 spot. But if it doesn't hit Chris White's, we can't have it in a site top 10.
No.
We can't.
Is Adam Carroll frozen video? Or is
he's moving really slowly.
He's thinking. He's debating whether he rants about this one or saves it up.
I can't. If Chris has decided that, and I've no chance.
Mate, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
You got to be.
The thing is, I've got stuff like Guardians in my top 10, Ratchet's in my top 10. Like there's other games in my top 10. Like, and it's in no way a shit because obviously we've talked about how much we love it. Yeah. But there's so many games I've really enjoyed this year, and it doesn't get in there.
You know what? I will mention one thing. Like, sorry, Chris, go on.
I was going to say, it's one of those ones that because of how passionate you guys are talking about, I now want to play it. Yeah. Like, and there's been a few of those from different people, but this is probably the one where I'm like, really.
No, you won't, Mick. You won't. Can I just mention one thing that you guys haven't mentioned? So, just to get, because we don't want to just repeat what we've all said and eulogize it while it's going. Can I just mention one thing I liked about it that we haven't spoken about yet? So, in this game, the main character, it's not a spoiler, is it?
Doesn't matter.
I don't know. You've not said it yet.
No, the main character's name's not a spoiler or anything, is it?
No,
I don't think so.
Just because I know, like I said, well, we're talking spoilers anyway, aren't we? So at the end of the day,
character A.
Yeah, no, okay. You play someone called Alex, okay, Alex Chen, and she is or isn't bisexual, or straight, or lesbian. She is. It's dealt with in a way that, for me, as a 40-year-old man, it's kind of like. It felt modern, but in a really good way, in that it was not this fucking great big deal. Do you know what I mean? It was not this enormous thing. There's just a scene early on where essentially it allows you to put yourself upon the character by literally choosing. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't. Well, it kind of does actually come up with almost a choice of like, are you in? I think if I remember correctly,
do you want to go with her or him?
Well, no, but Steph literally says, are you in? I think she says, are you into girls? Doesn't she? And you get in a nice. You can let her down easily, or you can say yes, or you can say both. And the way it was felt so natural in the moment that I was like, this is. It's not this like this woman, Alex, does not identify herself as. She's not ruled by her sexuality. It is a part of who she is, an important part, like it is for everyone else, I'm sure. But it is not all she is. She is more than that. Whatever you choose, it's just is. And I thought that was really cool. I thought it was just really cool for it to be like, there's this thing, move on, done. And then you play the story out your way. That it's basically a him or her. You get to pick relationship-wise. But I just thought it was really cool the way it was done. It was almost matter-of-factly, but not in a horrible way. Not in a way of, I better let them know, It was just really naturally done, and I thought that was really cool. And I really, really appreciated that. I just thought it was a nice little thing. Thought it handled it really well. But bye-bye, Life is Strange.
It sounds like a cut,
yeah.
So we've got one left to cut, right?
Yeah, there's a few we haven't really talked about.
It really hurts me that I kind of feel like I know. There's one on there that it really matters to me that it's.
I mean, I have got the spiciest of all spiciest cuts that I could suggest, and I am talking bollocks of fire spice. We are talking on the toilet for 3 days, and afterwards you don't even want to put pants on. It's so sore. Like that is how spicy a curry this is.
I have one personal one, but I don't think it would make it.
6, 10, or 11. I think.
Now, do you want this cut, or do we want to just wait a little while?
I want to hear it.
Well, we've got to cut one.
Oh, you don't.
We're all kind of spicy
you don't, Adam.
Now.
I want to hear it.
Oh, is it that?
It's Deathloop.
Fuck off.
I thought it was going to be.
I'm not. I sat here quietly. Life is Strange got shat on there now, and it got taken away from me. No, Deathloop is not going to not be on our list.
I thought you were going to say Returnal.
Can I? Yeah, I was going to say Returnal. Can we talk about that?
We can both, but we'd only have 9.
Yeah,
Bring back Life is Strange.
It really kind of matters to me that Returnal makes it into the 10.
Okay.
Because I do genuinely think, regardless of, I mean, it's hard because it's meant to be hard. I genuinely think it's one of the best video games this year.
I thought we were talking about Deathloop.
I think
no one's had a go at Returnal yet, and you're defending it.
I was saying, but
Mick's defending Returnal, and no one's even arguing it.
No, but they're both time loopy games, so I was.
I suppose,
I was going to.
Because there was a genuine moment there where I thought I'd had a stroke, and I was like, "Wait, I thought we were talking about Deathloop, and he's defending Returnal."
No, because I thought Chris Hyde was going to say Returnal.
Yeah, I was.
And I've been trying to keep quiet about it, hoping that it stays. Because it's so good.
But Deathloop
Deathloop
is
Deathloop is so good too.
Okay.
I don't love Deathloop as much as Adam Carroll loves Deathloop. I'm not sure I love my own
I'm not
mother
sure
as much as
Arcane
Adam
love it
Carroll
as much as
loves
Adam.
No. So, I maybe... What I'm saying is, I think if it's going to come down to two, I think it might come down to Deathloop or Returnal with what we've got left in this group of 6, because so many of you didn't get so far into Returnal. You had problems with whatever. I obviously did. So I just think that if you've got to lose one, I mean, we're not going to lose Forza off this list, are we?
No.
Surely, you know. So
no.
it's like I'm looking at a list going, what can possibly go with this group? I mean, I could chuck Psychonauts 2 out because I haven't played it.
Yeah, I think Chris is on the right track. We have to
go around and say which one would we cut to make a 10?
Well, I mean, I've already. Well, I mean,
you've kind of shown your.
Well, I have, but I'm only going for that because I thought I had a chance. Fuck it, I'll stick with it. My cut is Deathloop. Chris Hyde.
Mine would be Returnal.
Yeah. Adam Carroll.
Monster Hunter Rise.
Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting to me.
Instantly regrets Deathloop.
Well, I was going to change it to the one. I thought there's no chance in hell I cut Monster Hunter Rise. But I would not have banked on Adam Carroll being... Okay, fine, we can come back to this. Chris White.
Metroid Dread.
Oh my god!
Can I change mine to It Takes Two? No.
Game of the Year is fun.
Mick?
Off this list.
Oh wait, Chris, you've not played Metroid Dread, right?
Yes, he has.
Yeah, I've barely played it. I've played like 5 minutes of it. I don't have a chance really. Okay. That's the only reason.
Right. Okay. Okay.
It's not because it's a bad game. I just haven't given it as much attention.
No, Chris, stop talking about Metroid Dread. I can feel it. Mick, please give us a game. That Psychonauts 2, by the way, is the name of the game. That's not two votes against Psychonauts. And come back to you, but we have to vote.
Metroid Dread. I haven't played it.
No fucking. It's fucking ridiculous.
This idea.
What do you want me to do? I haven't played it. How can I vote for it as one of the best games? I haven't played it. I've barely seen it. Psychonauts 2, the same, but I feel like there was a lot more passion for Psychonauts 2 than there was for Metroid Dread.
Lyle?
Hang on a second here.
I've got a vote, I believe.
Yeah. Lyle, what are you doing?
Well, no, hang on.
Maybe we should only vote for games we've played. Maybe change it.
Hang on, what did Lyle say?
So we have an informed opinion.
Oh, what has happened?
I will never forgive you, Chris.
I'll tell you what. Wait. I'll change mine. I'll change mine because I think voting for games because we haven't played them at this point. There's games on there that none of us. There's got to be at least 1 or 2 games on there. None of us have really played. Right? There has to be.
Yeah, I voted for one.
I will take my vote for
now.
Metroid Dread away because I haven't played it, and it's not fair to vote against.
Fair enough.
Okay. The game I have played on there that I would rather cut.
Don't say
is
it.
Scarlet Nexus.
Okay, that's not what I thought you were going to say.
It's the least blown away.
I fucking can't see a world in which Metroid Dread is not on God is a Geek's top 10. I'm not saying it's number 1. I can't see a world where that doesn't.
I'm blind. I'm absolutely gobsmacked.
You agreed for the vote.
No, I
you
didn't.
agreed for us to vote on games.
Yeah, but I didn't think you'd. Well, too late.
Well, I've not played as much of you as you have, so I've got to vote for 1.
But
Forza's got 5.
I think it's pretty good. I liked it, but it didn't really blow me away as much as the people.
I'm sorry. I think if we put a list out without Metroid Dread in it, we look like fucking idiots. I would genuinely be like, we look stupid. We, as a site, look stupid for that. Like that is ridiculous.
I did not expect that as the ramifications of my suggestion for voting. Jesus Christ.
If everyone else feels this strongly, it probably isn't the one that gets cut, I suppose. But I think it's hard to pick one from this list. I have quite a few.
You've already cut one and put it back on. I mean, Super Mario came off once. If that
I'd sooner cut that than Metroid.
I a million miles would rather cut Super Mario 3D World and Bowser Fury than Metroid Dread.
And I have no opinion on Super Mario. I haven't played it, and I probably wouldn't be on my list anyway.
But this is exactly the argument I was talking about, where I said I would not feel comfortable keeping Mario on this list when it is essentially a 3 hours extra content of an old game and dumping Metroid Dread.
Why don't you bite the bullet, cut Mario because of that reason? That's a valid reason to cut it while still saying that you love it. It's a good game.
I love it. Not love it, but I actually do think it breaks the rules a bit.
Because I think
it was also in Best Remake. It won Best Remake.
It did. It
feels to me like it's breaking the rules being on a top 10 of overall.
It's going to get its article, isn't it? It's going to get its time.
Yeah.
You know? And then there's 10 games on there that we can really fucking talk about, because
I don't think there's any way
on there that
I get Monster Hunter Rise cut. Really, not really.
No, Rise stays. I think Deathloop, I think, has to stay. I think it was genuinely a tremendous game.
I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying I don't think it's one of the 10 best. You know what I mean?
I think if you cut Super Mario right now, we've got a list that's worth digging into. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean, if it means Metroid Dread, I mean, fucking hell, I can't.
I mean, literally foresaw this.
Look, it means
you used Psychonauts 2, but you foresaw this.
I did.
It means at least one game that we all give a shit about so strongly stays.
No, but it also feels like I'm being made to make almost an executive decision here and say that Super Mario 3D World is breaking the rules, because I do think that initial argument is it is not a new game. It is not a new game.
On it. Let's vote on Super Mario.
But it's just Super Mario. The thing, what I'm saying is, I don't think it even needs a vote. It is not a new video game.
I think the fact that it's one best remake.
That's what I'm saying.
Argument.
The rules are. That's why we have that category. If we're going to allow those remakes to be in this category, then we don't need to have a best remake category, because they can win everything.
And let's
I mean, Nier, but Nier, for example, just to confirm this, Nier is a remake, but it's a different kind of remake.
Yeah.
This is not a. This is a re-release.
That's a re-release. Yeah.
You know, this could be. Oh god, I'm going to regret saying this. This could just be as well be Death Stranding Deluxe Edition or whatever they call it, Director's Cut or whatever it's called.
Mass Effect Trilogy or
because Mario's got to go.
It has. I think it has, because that list looks right.
It feels
It doesn't, because there's a couple of games down the bottom that need to be nearer the top. But
sorry, I don't mean the order.
You mean the top 10? You mean the top 10 looks right?
Yeah, the 10 games as a pile looks right.
I think 10 is for us 6 people is and the site is
Well, we need to start. So I'll read the 10 then, and then we can start trying to. Monster Hunter Rise, Tales of Arise. I'm going to just move them away from one another for now, because that's really like we have been talking a lot, and it's getting kind of like. I'm going to read them again. Sorry. So it is Tales of Arise, Deathloop, Metroid Dread, It Takes Two, Returnal, Psychonauts 2, Scarlet Nexus, Monster Hunter Rise, Halo Infinite, and Forza Horizon 5.
Wow. Whichever way you cut it, that's 10 fantastic games. It is.
Mm-hmm. I think Returnal needs to go down quite a few, because I think the only person actually arguing for it to be here is Mick. And I do 10, like it, but I don't think it can go higher than 10.
If you'd like to put it at 10, put it at 10. I think it deserved to be on the top 10. It's such
it is in the top 10.
Yeah, you know what I mean, though. It's such a well-made game, and the level of polish on it is almost, I could go on and on, but I don't need to. It's at number 10, and I'm
we can strike that in bold.
Yeah.
Number 10 is done. Number 10 is Returnal. So, I want to hear more about Deathloop, because I don't think it should be in the top 5. I strongly, strongly think it should not be in the top 5.
I think it should be around 9 or 8, but...
Nick, I told you lately that I love you.
No, I agree, and I'm happy to talk about it. Why I think that?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm not saying put it there. I'm just saying if I was ordering this list for
me. No, I'm saying I agree with you.
Yeah,
I think it had its dues. The characters, etc. That I think it's had its dues in those categories, and it's deserving of its place on this list, given how much Chris liked it, Chris White, liked it, Mick Fraser and Adam Carroll liked it. But this is not best multiplayer, best character. This is best game, and I don't think I almost feel more strongly this shouldn't be in a top 5 than some of them should be. If that makes sense. Like I feel like they're all going to walk in there, but this one I strongly feel shouldn't be.
I'd like to hear an argument for it to be in the top 5 from someone, because I haven't got one. I like I said, for me, it's maybe even 9 on that list, but that's Adam Carroll felt stronger than I did about Deathloop as a game. So I mean, if you want it higher,
I think it's a top 5 for me personally. I'm very surprised by the overall response. It's like, I know we're all saying we all like it, but this game just like fully clicked with me. It was super fast paced, super funny, really incredibly well designed. Like, I don't like these kinds of games, these like repeating kind of style games, and I never ever once felt annoyed when I died. Every time I went back, it was constantly fresh. That's what blew my mind, was the level of fresh it kept up the whole way through. I was into the story. I thought the slabs were quality. I loved the way I could mix them up. I love trying new ones. The music's absolutely fantastic. It just has everything in a video game that I wanted, aside from another game that's on this list, obviously. But I have not ever clicked with an arcane game. I've said this many times. I have not. Deathloop is that one. It just so worked. Deathloop is so good that it's made me go out and buy the 2 Dishonored games and Prey, and I want to pay them all. And that, to me, is an unbelievable thing to achieve out of a video game. Like, you want to go back and check the developers' other stuff, the ones that everyone has been banging on about all the time, but I didn't get. This just works in so many fucking ways. And the ending... Okay, so I kind of have to spoil a second, right? So at the very end of the game, you basically have to meet Juliana, and she is... You go on this like ship, and you take off, and you meet her on this like long kind of runway. When I reached the runway, I could see her in the distance, and I was like, just so happens here that right now I have a sniper rifle. I'll just try this out. So I went, fuck it. I didn't know what way this was going to run. I didn't know if I was going to have to fight her or what the story was. But I was like, here I am. I'm going to try it. So from the distance, I shot her. She died. And I was like, oh, what the fuck happened? So I ran up to the thing, right? She's just lying there. I was kind of going, what's the crack? What am I doing? And I pulled this lever, and then the cycle just restarted again. And then she went, did you think that was going to actually work? That you were cheating? And I was like, huh? In my head, I was going, did I just not finish the game? No, because no credits rolled whatsoever. You can do that, but I had to play that section again, go back, meet her, and you have to go up and pick up a gun, or like either do this other thing to like get the credits rolling. And I thought it was like incredibly smart that like if I didn't arrive there with a sniper rifle, I suppose you could do it with any weapon, I wouldn't have probably seen that. And there was all these things happening throughout my entire time of Deathloop that like completely shocked me. Now, I get what people are saying. You can kind of go, oh yeah, but it's still just a very arcane game. But like this just, it's so
I don't
cool.
think anyone's saying that. I mean, for me, I'm not saying it isn't on the list. I mean, it is on the list. It
isn't.
It just
but
isn't.
Like
there's 5 better games. By miles. 3,
yeah, I mean,
4.
look, I agree
no,
with a lot.
It's definitely top 5.
There's 6 better games than me. For me,
I mean, for me, like, just so I say what I think on this. So, like, I agree with a lot of what you just said, Adam, in terms of this. This game is great. You know, there's a lot of positives. I don't want to go over them again. Like, you know, all of what you said. I think I was really worried that the whole loop thing was just going to be really dull in terms of it. It's just going to get this. It's going to get repetitive, right? And the way they split out the day and stuff and the different areas means that just never happens, right? And like you said, the detail and stuff is means that never happens. The thing that soured the experience for me and kind of just brought it down a notch was just towards the end of the game, like the way it works. And Chris, I think you said this in your review, and like you can do it you can do things whichever order you like. You know, you can do it, and then like, and that's you absolutely can do things. You know, you can follow whichever lead you like and progress whatever you want. There's no set way you have to do things, except to get to the end, which is complete the game and to stop the loop, which is the whole point of the game. Pretty much, you do have to do. You have to get to a certain point, and you know that I'm not going to spoil it for the sake of spoiling it, but you know what I'm talking about, Adam Carroll. You know, you've got to that point. You've literally just talked about it. And I found in my playthrough, it got to the point where I was like, I don't have free will on this, because it seemed like everything I had to do towards the end of that game was either in the morning or afternoon. And so I couldn't lay out my day and go, right, I'm going to do 3 or 4 things. I've just got to either do my thing in the morning and the afternoon, or do just one thing in the morning and then skip. And it just, from what I'd gone before, where I felt like, yeah, I could just go and explore and be free. Everything you said in your review, Chris, like just like exploring and just being my own kind of character and just learning as I go. It then got, because it's got a story, it kind of lost that towards the end. And it got to the point where I was just like, oh, I've got to do another thing in the morning, or I've got to do nothing seems to happen at night or noon in this game, or certainly a lot fewer things seem to happen in that. And so it just felt towards the end that it just soured it ever so slightly. Like, it's still a great game. All the things you said I agree with, but that's why I then go, compared to some of the others, it's further down on the list, because that was then my experience of it overall, all the good things, but then that thing just soured it a little bit. And also the other thing for me is I just felt, I don't want to make this out like I'm amazing at games. I expected the Visionaries to be harder to kill. I was really surprised.
You can brute force a lot of them.
I never died to a Visionary, and I was like,
okay,
what? Like, because the first one I had a crap gun, and so it was a bit more like long in terms of duration. The battle to whittle their health down. After I've got a slab and they drop a good gun, they just die within a few hits. And I'm like,
I felt like some of them they wanted you to do it X way, but you can just brute force it and just shoot.
Yeah, and that, yeah. And when you compare it to other games that are more like a Hitman, I guess, where you can't brute force it, you have to.
It's like imagine the boss fights in Resident Evil Village, like when you have to kill the daughters in the castle.
Yeah.
There's one way of doing that. You have to solve puzzle to make them vulnerable.
Yes.
I feel like Dishonored wants you to do that, but you don't have to. And I don't think it's a positive in the way it thinks it's a positive. It actually means you can just brute force it, and it's not.
I have to disagree with the difficulty there, because like
Dishonored was like that though. That's an arcane thing.
Almost, but the Visionaries, right? Like if they were like harder, that game would be very, very annoying, considering the grand scheme of it all, of what the plan is.
Maybe.
And the thing about it is, you have to go through a lot of other enemies to get there, and they're always surrounded by a lot of enemies. So, I did die, but maybe not by a Visionary, but just by chaos.
I died because multiple grunts were overwhelming me. Absolutely, I'm not trying to make out that I just did a flawless run.
If a Visionary came up and it was like head to toe armor, and you were just like running over, you wouldn't enjoy that at all.
But I guess I was expecting.
I like the same. It's like it's all the same level as you, nearly. That's what I thought. I really enjoyed it. Is that nobody else seems more difficult than me. So that was kind of really fun, because like we were all on the same level of like health.
I felt like I was. But the thing is, I felt like I was on the same level, like at the start, and then I got really good guns and powers, and I'm like, well, now I'm OP. And don't get me wrong, I didn't not enjoy that, because that's a great feeling. You can mix and match the abilities and have fun, and that's a lovely thing to do. But I guess I was just surprised, because I was like it's more just figuring out the puzzle of the loop, rather than the challenge of taking out the Visionaries in isolation, if that makes sense.
And I have to, that's another pro just for my love towards the game, is the understanding of the entire layout of the Visionaries, the threads and stuff. Like, as I said on one of the other days, I was so confused for quite some time, understanding how I was supposed to like play this out. And then when it all clicked, I really, really enjoyed it. Like, I loved I do absolutely fucking adore this.
Well,
game.
look, let's go. I think the only way really to try and pass some sort of logic here is if we go around and ask everyone what number Deathloop is, and then we can at least pass some sort of in between, almost. Like we would do on Fork Off. Almost, you have to work out right. If he says it's 2 and he says it's 9, he says we have to find at least a consensus of where we think it is to begin with, and then we can work from there. Adam, what number for you?
For me, it's number 2.
Okay, Chris Hyde.
Looking at this list, 9, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
looking at this list.
All right, Chris White.
4.
Okie dokie. Mick.
5.
Okay. Lyle.
About 7, I think.
I'm number 6, so I think 5 or 6, right? 6 sounds more right because Chris said, what did you say, 4?
Yeah.
It's in 6th anyway, so I don't know. That seems like I've just. Let's leave it there for now then, and we'll cut. We'll move. Has anyone got a game they think that's number 9?
I do.
Yep.
I do as well. Yeah.
No, go on.
I think Rise.
Monster Hunter Rise.
I think Rise is number. Yeah. Like I understand where you guys are with that, especially Chris and Mick. I do know, and you don't even have to explain why you like this game so much. I get it. I didn't click with it as much as I loved World. It does do a lot of better things in ways. I think the traversal and all that shit is good. But at the end of the day, what I thought I was going to feel for a Monster Hunter game on the Switch, on the go, I didn't actually get at all. And that's not to say it's a bad game, but I just wasn't totally into it as much. And when I look at this list, I think it can be there in the top 10, but for me, it's a 9.
For me, it's not
Nexus
in the top 10.
9.
No.
I do. I think Nexus is 9.
I've
not managed to click with Scarlet Nexus as much as you guys have.
No, that's absolutely fair. But from what I'm hearing, unless Adam, I'm mistaken, Rise isn't even in your top 10.
It's not my top 10.
It's not in mine either.
No.
It's an honourable mention for me, if the truth be told, but it is not in my top 10.
It's not even an honourable mention for me.
There you go. Lyle?
Two of the games in my top 3 are at 9 and 10.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because I think I have sort of 4 games left in this list that are in my top 10. So sort of boiling it down to that feels a little unfair because I don't know if I'd necessarily put it at the bottom of the ones that remain, but it would also certainly be in the bottom half. So I'm not too difficult either way.
I think it's higher than 9.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that you said, Adam, earlier about Knockout City, this for me is the game where I've spent the most time and wanting to play each night when are people available to play with the patch-ons and the set up the Discord and stuff. And I know it's not, that isn't what we do now. It's had its moment and it's come down, but reflecting on the whole 12 months of the year, that was a really big part of it. And I said this about Animal Crossing last year. That's really important to me. And I get what you guys are saying. And if we have to do it mathematically, it says it's not in two people's top 10, then okay. But I think it's such a nice thing when a community clicks like that and want to work together. And it's a great game to work together on like that, and help each other out. There's a lot of that generally in the Monster Hunter community, but we were definitely doing that as part of a group. And yeah, it gets me more emotionally, I think, than some of the others because of, I guess, the community that we've got.
But the counter for that would be that we literally cut Knockout City because that isn't part of the game. That's part of an experience. And Monster Hunter's in here. But literally I said like you said, and I would argue you had the same experience with Knockout City.
Yeah, I've had more of it with Monster Hunter Rise in terms of scale and consistency. But absolutely, yeah, you're right. I get it though. If two of you are saying top 10, I know Chris really quite likes it from memory of previous days. I can't remember where Lyle sits on it.
I mean, it was sort of my first real dive into Monster Hunter, and the time I played it, I enjoyed it. It just is a game that wasn't ever particularly near my top 10 because there's so many specific emotional resonant things that are, have made their way into my top 10. So I don't know. It's hard. I
guess
enjoyed it more than I expected.
It needs to be 9 then, right? As much as me and Mick love it, I can't. The maths
I
of it.
really enjoy it. Why is what we're doing about Psychonauts 2?
Yeah, we haven't mentioned really that, and I think, and again as well, Metroid Dread's another one that it's on the list, and
but they're not placements. We haven't talked about them yet. They're not.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, why are we just chucking Monster Hunter Rise at 9 when we haven't discussed?
Oh, that
was
just literally asked if anyone had something they wanted to put at 9, and
I jumped in on that. That was me.
But then, I agreed, Lyle agreed, so it was gathering storm, as it were. But we absolutely can talk about a different game.
If I was going to vote for a game to go at number 9, of this list, it wouldn't be Rise. So I don't know if I should really say that I'm a vote on side.
Okay.
But for me, that would be probably between Metroid Dread and Scarlet Nexus.
I don't think Scarlet Nexus is in the top 5 in this group of people. Lyle's not having it there. Mick's not having it there. They can't all be in the top 5.
No, there is that.
I think on that list, I mean, again, I haven't played Psychonauts 2 and Metroid Dread. There's a lot of love for them. But a couple of people did vote against Metroid Dread even being in the top 10.
Only because they hadn't played them.
I'd played
it.
Not Lyle. Yeah, no, that's
I retracted mine because I hadn't played it, to be fair. But I think...
Chris didn't because he's vicious and violent.
I don't feel like, objectively, I don't know. I don't feel like Scarlet Nexus is a better game than
I can't
Rise.
believe...
I think, for me, Scarlet Nexus on that list is the 9th. Because I can't.
It's better than Rise for me in every way. It tells a better story. The gameplay's better. The visuals are better. The performance is better. There's nothing about Scarlet for me that isn't better than Monster Hunter Rise. Certainly, and I'm not saying Scarlet should be 2 or something, but for me,
I just didn't click with Scarlet as much.
Scarlet was so unique and interesting. No one's done that combat since Psyops: The Mindgate Conspiracy.
But I didn't.
If I was looking at that list now, if Deathloop isn't reaching top 5, I'd be fighting for Scarlet Nexus in top 5. I think Scarlet Nexus was fucking phenomenal, and as you said, the combat and stuff. There's another game here we'll talk about in a while regarding its combat, but Scarlet is. It looks phenomenal. I was really into the story. I was really into the characters, but I think every single time I played it, I was just always so into how the combat felt. Every time I do R2 and L2 and lift up shit and throw it over, I was like, this is unreal.
My concern is, though, we're not moving at all. We're not moving at all here. We are not. No decisions have been made.
All right, I think that when this happens, I feel we kind of need to lock stuff in a sense, right? Let's just put this out there. It Takes Two is going to be in top 5, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we could just lock that there.
Well, it is already there. That's the trouble. So it's I'm not actually making any adjustments. I'm just going. Yep.
Stuff. Okay, look.
No, because that suggests if it's bolded, it's where it's staying.
Here's one, and I cannot comment on this. The only game I can't comment on, Halo Infinite.
I think that's top 5.
Me too.
Not quite.
So
for
people
me.
have played this. I have absolutely nothing I can say about it.
On this list, that's my number 2. I've just absolutely fucking.
But you have not played the whole game, and I think that's really important to know. And that is not me being like, I have. Well, of course it is my fucking job to review it, but it is really key to me that people say, if they are saying this game is amazing, you play the whole thing, because the story shits the bed, and they really messed up by giving you that grapple shot straight away, because every other ability is crap. Really is.
I've been using
that is a massive.
I found it dependent on situation. I found them very situational.
And every time you want to go back to
indoors, for example.
See, I do.
No, I
Absolutely.
don't. I use the shield.
So let me ask
you
I
don't use the dodge. That's when I.
The dodge is ridiculous.
Why they gave you that.
No, I have no idea why that exists, because you can make that movement. Well, no, there is a late game moment where I thought potentially that dodge might be the answer, but not to the point where I even tried it, because you can move once you've upgraded your grapple shot. That maneuverability is
I needed the dodge after before you actually get it. When you fight the dude with the hammer, that's where you need the dodge. I didn't have it then.
No, I think also it is not fair that we just pretend the multiplayer isn't a component here. And that multiplayer has problems. As we speak, they are updating it this week. But they know there are problems. There's more being done in the new year after the holiday period. Mm-hmm. It is a component of this video game we are rating. For me, I think there's tremendous single player that does not quite stick the landing, doesn't quite get there. But as I said earlier in the week, it's a reset point, which I appreciate. I don't think the abilities are mapped particularly well. Like, it is fiddly as fuck to have to keep going right to get back to the, and the grenades especially are never really properly explained, and fiddly again to move between. No one bothers with them. You just spam grenade until you fire them all out or whatever. I think there is an issue. There are issues with the UI in that respect. It's a fantastic game. It would be my 6, I think, but Deathloop apparently is better than Halo. So I don't agree with that, but I that's why I think Deathloop should be further down the list, because Halo is a better game. But it doesn't make it. It might. I can see it being a 5, even on this list, on a group list.
Yeah, for me,
can we discuss?
Sorry,
Lyle. Sorry.
Yeah?
No problem. For me, Halo Infinite, I was pretty certain it was going to be on my list from the multiplayer alone. I had it I had it basically on my list at sort of number 10 spot. And over the last 2 days, I've played about 9 hours of the campaign. I have been absolutely well and truly hooked. I've collected every collectible. I've been grapple hooked, and I've collected pretty much every collectible. I think I'm about 75% of the way through. I think most of my abilities are upgraded at this point.
Did you get the first 2 skulls? Did you get the first 2 skulls in the first 2 levels?
Yeah, I would have been your daddy.
I've got one of the. I think I've got 1 or 2 skulls, but I don't think they were in the first 2 levels.
They are. Unfortunately, you can't get them now. You can't get them unless you restart the game. I mean, that is not a good design. You cannot fast travel back to those 2 locations, and they're gone.
And everything you've said about this is totally fair, and I totally understand stuff to do with the story. But for what I've been playing that game for, I've skipped every cutscene because I don't care about Halo story, and I still don't care about Halo story.
But to me, that's not a positive at all. That's quite
of course not. And I haven't used much of the abilities, but I've it's sucked me in so much that I've played.
The gameplay is brilliant.
Amazing.
If we did best gameplay, I would be. I don't know if it'd be number 1, but it would be somewhere high up. But for me,
I think the legacy of that game story is what holds it back from them doing it properly. I think they painted themselves into so many. Yeah, I know. I'm saying they painted themselves into so many corners over the decades with stories of those games. That I think it's difficult now for them to pull.
No, but what I'm saying is, I think they now have hit the reset point.
Yeah,
but they had to.
Yeah.
I also think there's part of me that thinks, having played the game pre-release, post-release, in beta, not in beta, I kind of feel like this fucking game's running on string at some points. I think that it's like one pull away from collapsing. There's some stuff in there that you're like, that's, it's phenomenal, but I still don't really feel like it. Psychonauts 2's been mentioned a few times.
Yeah, because I again...
It's in my high up in my list, but I feel like that is one that is not getting in the top 5.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because obviously I'm in the same position as you that it is.
But I just don't feel like the support is there.
It can get, but if there's not that many people who've played it, it's hard to imagine that it would get particularly high.
I'm just fiddling with stuff here based on what how the discussions have been.
I mean, just to chip in because you're fiddling.
Oh, yeah. I'm just trying to, based on what people are saying.
I was going to say I'd be happy with, from that, the 5 that are in the top 5 and the 5 that are in the bottom 5. Not saying where they sit in the order, but in terms of the 5 that are in the 5.
See,
and the 5 that are in
so at the moment, I feel like Metroid Dread, half support, half not. I feel like Halo should actually go above Metroid.
I feel like at least Halo should be 5.
That's what I'm saying. I would feel. Oh god! I mean, I don't agree with Psychonauts being below Deathloop. I really don't.
I don't either.
Oh,
but
okay.
I guess does it come down to who's played it?
I mean,
I don't know.
What Metroid? See, I keep coming back to Metroid Dread because apart from when we talked about the reveal at the end. I haven't played it, and I'm not. I don't know. I'm not hearing.
So they took a genre that was all right. No, that's fine. They took a genre that, well, literally the game is named. The genre is named after this game, right? Yeah. And there have been phenomenal Metroidvanias. There have been Ori, and there's this the Knight one, Hollow Knight. There've been been phenomenal games in this genre. And not only did they come back with a non-Nintendo developer doing it, they smashed it out of the park. It is so playable and Moorish and smooth, and it's got little bits in it that are like, if you want this, there's a little bit, you can like pump it on hard, and then you have to use the melee sort of repel and the riposte, and you could put it on easy and just shoot everything. But they've added all these little touches like that. The level layout is just
exquisite. The level design,
it's meticulous and exquisite.
I wish I'd had the time to play
the level design is superb.
But more than that, these games have a structure. Okay, you get ability 1, then 2, then 3. This game, they didn't do that. It's all mixed up, so that people who have played all of these will be like, oh yeah, now I'm gonna. Oh, I thought I'd get that. You always get that first. No. They changed, they, and that's a unique thing to do. And again, Nintendo went, all right, fair enough. Which Nintendo of old would not have allowed that. But no, you get the morph ball. That's what you get.
I also love the way, and I can't remember whether we mentioned this or not. I think we have talked about it before. I love the way that the developers really understand this series and genre. And there were always people in Metroid games, and probably lots of other Metroidvania games, that will always try and sequence break the crap out of it, the speed runs and everything else.
Magic,
just to see what happens, right? Because and you can sequence break, if you're really deft with the controller, you can sequence breaks and stuff in this game. But they've actually added in on certain boss fights. You get certain boss fights with things you should not have by that point.
You should not be able to do this.
There's different animations that they've designed in. That they have different boss fight animation cutscenes. That you don't need to be in the game.
You shouldn't be able to see it. It shouldn't exist because you shouldn't be able to do the thing that makes that cutscene trigger. And yet, because they understand it so much,
because they know people will.
They know people will find a way.
And and if anything, they know the designs of the levels and what could be sequence break, and so that's how they've managed to.
It's almost like it's like a hacker being one step ahead. It's so clever, and it's like I didn't see any of that, and it's like that's the sort of thing that with these kind of games you don't expect this depth. It's like you've done it, then you can play it on hard if you want, whatever. But because they, like you said, understand it after the game's released, and the public at large get hold of it. It's like people are finding this. That is actually fucking brilliant. That's just
it's so Metroidvania is like one of my favorite genres. It so feels like if I'd have played this, I'd be fucking well up there. But because I haven't, it's really hard for me to.
Well, how do we feel about the bottom 6? Sorry, the bottom 5.
I'm looking at it kind of thinking you can swap 1 and 3 and call it a day.
What I've just said, obviously.
Oh, fucking hell, Mick, I love you so much.
I mean, you could, couldn't you? Try it. Look at it.
No, I completely agree with you. So,
those two do swap. Yeah, they just do.
I mean, let's be honest.
Hang on, sorry, I've forgotten what you said as I was doing it. That's what you said, right?
That's what I said. I mean, that I can't argue with any. I mean, I can't argue with the placement of any game anywhere on this list. Not really. It's a fantastic fucking top 10.
Can I just propose one swap there? And I don't think it's going to be popular, but I'm going to propose it. I'd swap Metroid Dread with Scarlet Nexus.
I agree because I have played Scarlet Nexus and I'm not that in love with it like you guys are.
I would be over the moon with that swap. And I love Scarlet Nexus. I adore that game, that story, the cleverness, the characters. I love that, but I'd be happy with that.
I feel like if I play more of it, I might feel differently. But it hasn't grabbed me in its opening hour. It just hasn't.
Nothing happens in the first hour. Trust me. Push on.
I don't see why it goes to 6 and not 5 when not everyone's finished Halo.
Yeah, but Halo's only
clearly
been out
problems
a week.
with it.
But
everyone banged on about how good Nexus was all year. We've all talked about consistent gameplay, consistent changes.
Right.
Halo's not.
I mean, I'm fine with that as well. Yeah, I'm fine with that as well. Quite honestly,
I would be fine with that.
they're the two. Halo's been pushed down there by the two games I wanted towards the bottom. So obviously I'm less happy about that. I'd say about Scarlet Nexus that if we're saying it's not fair because people have been because people have finished that and not Halo, I'd say I've had access to Scarlet Nexus because of Game Pass for about 3 months and I've not played anywhere near as much as Halo because Halo is a game I think is just so compelling, so Moorish. I've played more of the multiplayer of Halo.
I would also argue that's a slightly. I think we're comparing apples and oranges a little bit here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Halo Infinite, you can pick up and play for half an hour and get a really great time out of it. You can't. Like, the problem Mick's got is he's literally revealed it, so to speak, is that he's played an hour of it and he's not taken by it. It's a JRPG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the genre. I understand that, but there are games that did. I mean, Tales of Arise, for example. The first hour of that slapped me in the face and I couldn't put it down. I played it. I had to because I had to play the things, I had to review, I had to whatever. But it's a similar feeling, which is why I wouldn't argue where Tales of Arise, despite the fact that I have argued against it in certain categories during the week. That game is amazing.
Are we all, apart from, well, I know, Adam, you're not going to say yes, but are we generally speaking feeling that 7 through 10 here are there or thereabouts? And that's Deathloop, Psychonauts 2, Monster Hunter Rise, Returnal. I don't agree that Psychonauts is number 8, by the way, but it's a group list. We have to get this in our heads now.
I obviously don't agree, but I think it's fair where they've laid because of who's played them.
I think I can't argue that Halo goes any higher than it does either.
It's hard when people haven't played as
much. It's a very new game at this time.
Yeah. I can argue against Scarlet Nexus if I want. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying that of the games I've played on that list, it's probably the one that I would play last. But I mean, it's not bad. I'm not saying it's a bad. And fucking hell, you guys are so passionate about it that I think we could tweak this list all day, and I really think if Chris is happy, because Chris has been probably the most vocal about it, of where Scarlet Nexus is on that list, I'm not sure there's a need to change much else.
I have one maybe proposed swap, and I want to test the waters.
I do as well. So let's hear yours first, Lyle.
Mine's swapping 2 and 3, which is Tales of Arise above Forza Horizon 5.
Boom! Let's do this.
Not for me, but
not a chance.
well, we tried.
No, I mean, that's just two of us.
It's not for me.
That's 2v2. That's 2v2. That's me and Chris White saying no, and Chris Hyde and Lyle suggesting it. So that's 2v2.
Why don't you lock Halo at 6 and we vote on where we've got to put the others? Does anyone have a problem with that?
Nope.
I think
then we've got the back.
We've got the bottom.
I wasn't happy with where Rise went. I'd have put Deathloop higher, but I think it's a good list.
We've not said what's at number 1, and I don't don't. But am I to take it that we can bold that and then reveal it to the audience later?
Yes,
I would.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
By far.
And just for the record, that makes me so fucking happy. It's like you don't even know.
You've not let that slide. Not given off that hint all week.
So my suggestion, that in similar vein to what Lyle suggested, was do number 4 and 5 need to swap around, and that is a question to Chris White and Chris Hyde and possibly Adam Carroll actually.
Well, you know what I'm going to say.
Okay, so my view on this.
Well, I know what you're going to say. Yeah, to be fair, yeah.
Yeah. So my view, and I know you know this, but I'll just say it for everyone. For me, there were like 4 10 out of 10 games this year. For me personally, just me, and they're currently sitting in the top 4.
Okay.
So I don't think that 4 and 5 need to swap. Personally, I adore Scarlet Nexus, and I think it should definitely be in that top 5. But I would have it there personally. That's my view on it.
Adam?
My only swap that I'd have, and it's not gonna happen, is I'd put number 2 at 5, and everything else is grand with me. The only reason I say that is because as much as I do think that game, it pretty much is a 10. Like it's fucking tremendous. I don't invest myself to everything that game offers because I don't really care or acknowledge it, and I almost feel like, do I lose out on some elements of that kind of game?
No, but that's
overall?
the thing, you don't.
Yeah, I know. But like at the end of the day, I think when I'm doing what that game is, I'm like, this is unreal. It's so much fun. I do think it's just sometimes like if I'm in it, I just don't really the hype level that game goes for. Sometimes I'm just like, shut up. But like, it looks amazing. I think the last one did as well. But like, I wouldn't be putting it number 2. I think I'm so much more invested into like the other games. I just am.
Tales of Arise.
Yeah, I am. I have to say, like, whatever Tales and Scarlet, I think to have those 2 games together to go the same year to be kind of like niche enough games,
but
I think it's fucking amazing that they're here.
But
they both do.
But if we can lock 4 and 5 in the number order we want them to be in, we then have literally got to discuss number 2 and 3, and then we're out. Like, well, the question I'm saying is Metroid Dread or Scarlet number 4?
I've voted for Metroid
You've already made it clear, Metroid Dread. Chris White has already made it clear, Scarlet. Mick's kind of got no dog in the fight, might have to be the decider almost, because he's, Lyle, I think, well, I don't know.
I think just Scarlet, but I'm not. I'm kind of either way.
Yeah, I feel similar. Adam,
I think I would say Scarlet.
Metroid.
Is just.
So sorry, that's 2-2 all, isn't it? But Lyle's is a kind of.
I don't mind. I really don't mind between those 2. I think they're both great. They're both not.
I think you've got to have a deciding vote, and I recuse myself because I haven't played Metroid. I'm not a big fan of Scarlet, so like I hate to say that I don't care, but it's not that I don't care. I just don't have an argument in this at all. So
the problem here is that I haven't finished Scarlet, but I finished Metroid because I was reviewing it. So I don't think I can even compare them that way. I think it's Scarlet for me. I haven't seen a game do what that does in terms of its uniqueness. I think it's Scarlet.
I do wonder if...
I think it's Scarlet as well because I think I like the fact that God is a Geek is like almost sometimes the outsider, like a bit different, and I feel like Scarlet celebrates that as well. Like it's just a game that I don't reckon. I bet that game doesn't appeal in anyone else's top 10s.
I feel like it's a game I'll play after this is all done, and then come back next year when we're discussing things and go, "Yeah, you were right." Actually,
we have to vote. Vote. It's not fair for me for it to be like, "Well, Adam, you played both of them," and no, it has to be a vote. We have to do it fairly. That's the way these things work. Adam Carroll, you voted for Metroid as number 4. Chris Hyde, you voted for Metroid as number 4. Chris White, Scarlet, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Lyle was the same. Mick?
Yeah.
By the rationale that I have played it, Scarlet.
It's Scarlet for me. I've already said that.
That'll do.
And then all we need to do is work out number 2 and 3.
Should we just do a vote on that as well, really, or do we need to talk about it?
I think. Okay, can I just?
Oh my god, they couldn't be more different.
Yeah,
I know.
We're talking about Forza Horizon 5 and Tales of Arise, which could not be 2 more different games.
Yeah.
Brief opinion, and you can shoot it down if you like. It stays like that because all the things we've talked about when we've discussed Forza Horizon, I don't like racing games. I've played Forza Horizon 5. I've played about probably 6 or 7 hours. Absolutely love it. I would have played more if I'd had time. It's got me. But all the discussions we've had about Tales of Arise, a lot of you have come back at me specifically because I've not been so hot on it in some of the categories, that it does things that Tales has never done. It gets things right that Tales has never got right. It changes things that people wanted the Tales games to change. It does those things. I don't know that Forza does anything that's not safe because it's Forza. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know that as an achievement, like if you consider a video game as an achievement, Forza is spectacular. I mean, look at it. But does Tales do more with what it's got than Forza does? I think in that respect, Tales, I am a JRPG fan. I play those games. So I automatically thought I would like Tales. I really like it a lot more than I thought I probably would. Same goes for Forza. But listening to you guys who have history with these franchises, I feel like Forza was a safe bet. It was a fairly safe bet. It was going to land. Tales of Arise maybe wasn't.
I don't think that's really fair, if I'm honest, because I feel like there's no such thing as a safe bet really in gaming nowadays, and I think But I get what you're saying. I do, but I think it undersells the achievement of what Forza Horizon 5 is. Let me put it this way: I think in this top 10 there are 2 games that are perfect. Forza's one of them. I don't know what you could do with Forza now. I genuinely don't know what they do next. Because if they do just go to another place and do it again, it's not enough. I don't know how you improve Forza Horizon 5.
Space. Go to space.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I just don't know how you improve Forza Horizon 5.
Dinosaurs.
Vin Diesel.
Maybe. It is one of those games. It's one of those games, and I've said this before, it asks nothing of you. If you want to go and ignore all the racing and just drive around chatting to your mates, cool. If you want to go and smash things up, want to jump off bridges, cool. If you want to get stuck into the races and get online and get really serious, yeah, no problem. If you want to create your own races for other people and be part of the community and share them, or create your own liveries and share those, cool. If you just want to drive around ticking numbers of boxes, unlocking XP boards, fast travel boards, checking off that number that keeps going up every time you find a new road while listening to a killer soundtrack, cool. It asks nothing of you. The developer is called Playground Games. It is a playground. It is just have fun. We ask nothing of you. You don't even have to fucking pay for it. You might have bought Game Pass to play Halo or the Gunk or whatever. You don't even have to fucking pay for this game. It's just like it's just there. It just exists in this. It reminds me of Mario Odyssey. It's just fucking marvelous. It just. I hate the fact, I fucking loathe the fact that, and none of you are guilty of this, so not you. I loathe the fact there will be people who go, yeah, but it can't get that high in a game of the year because it's just a racing game. Fucking that is bullshit, man. That is bullshit. They have made an unbelievable video game.
This is a game that is all about like just fun.
It's about you.
That's literally what this game is about. Like it isn't. You're right. This isn't. This
even calls you by your fucking name.
It does. Or
my character's even called Fraser. Which is just.
Hot shot. I call myself, and then it just started calling me Chris because it thought, well, he's not a hot shot. Look, for me, I agree with Adam personally. Like for me personally, Tales of, but I agree with you everything you just said, Adam. Like this game is not a. It is a racing game, but it's about fun. It just wants you to enjoy yourself and whatever that is to you in that moment as well. Because you might change. You might fancy something different on a different day. You know, someday you might be racing with Adam Carroll racing, or other days you're just finding boards and having a chat. Like, and that's cool. Like, I think it's phenomenal, and it's why for me it was a 10 out of 10. I'd not played Forza Horizon 4. I haven't got all this comparison of previous games. I'm just coming into this one going, is it any good? Should I have gotten this series earlier? And yes, I clearly should have done, because this game is superb. So I agree with everything you said. For me personally, Tales for me, because of the journey that I've gone on with that series personally to me, and how much I have absorbed that game, how much I've gone back to that game, how much I absorb media about that game outside of playing it, and how much, you know, and the things that make up that game in terms of, like, you know, we've talked about, we touched upon the combat, we talked about it on the regular pod quite a lot in terms of how that combat feels, and, you know, we talked a bit about Scarlet Nexus with the one, you know, you get all that in Tales of Arise as well. So, and dialed up to 11. For me, it's Tales of Arise, but I can see both ways. I mean, do we just have to vote?
I think we have to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we're voting on number two. Should we say it that way?
We're voting on number two.
Well, the thing is, I don't feel like when none of us are really disagreeing with one another.
No.
If you see what I mean, like, so it kind of seems pointless to continue extolling the virtues of the second and third best video game of 2021, when none of us are really disagreeing. Like, if you'd have come back then, Chris, and gone, yes, but, and rebuffed it with saying, no, I disagree, that's not true. But no one's doing that. No one is here no one is going, no, I get that you love it, but this has got a problem, and that's got, I mean, I can't really argue Tales of Arise any more than I can extol the virtues of Forza Horizon 5. I can't do it. So I think it really does come down to praying to fucking God that we don't have a 3-all.
We need
vote.
a 4-2, lads. We need a 4-2.
I think that's what it boils down to. So Forza for me, Chris White.
There are 2 games this year, and the only 2 games this year I've given 10 to. One is currently sat, rightfully so, where it is, and the other one was Forza. Forza for me, it's perfection. And I'm sorry to. But I don't play racing games as a when I'm just sat down in front of the TV, I don't think, I'm going to go on F1 2021, which is fucking great. But I'm not.
Yeah.
I just mean my game of choice is not a racing game. Forza, I chose it every night, even when reviewing it, even when not reviewing it. Sorry. But then the fun we had when reviewing it, where you were doing the guides and I was just kind of following the missions, and you were just pissing about. Well, not pissing about, but
no,
you know what I mean.
I was. But in
a
deliberate way.
But then when I got the chance to just do that as well, I just loved it. So Forza.
I think I'm not trying to sway anyone's vote, but I think there is a really important thing that both Chris White and I have said, and we both used a word that most critics do not like to use, and that word is perfect. Most people, and you see it in the YouTube comments, oh, so you're saying this game's fucking perfect, giving it 10 out of 10. No, 10 out of 10 means highest possible recommendation. If you don't have a fucking 10 in your scoring scale, you can't have perfect all the time. You can't use a 10. It's the whole point of a scoring scale, is that you use the scale. Chris and I both said we think it's perfect. I don't know how you'd improve it. I genuinely am like, it's a bit like, I feel the same way about God of War, actually, and the game that's on our number 1 at the moment. I don't know, I'm kind of scared of God of War Ragnarok, because I'm scared of what more could they do. That's how I feel about Forza. So my vote's Forza. It's two for Forza so far. Chris Hyde, I think we know, but please.
That's right.
Okay. Adam Carroll?
I completely agree with what you, Ed, and Chris have both said about Forza. Like, I do think that game is... I'm the exact same as Chris. You probably would play more racing games than I would. I said this many times, I'm just a Mario Kart guy. And that's kind of really what it is. But by God, that game is fun. I love being reckless in that fucking game. It's hilarious. And that's
we know.
There's just pure happiness. But like, there is just a thing where I am going to say Tails. I am a Tails fan. And this came around when we had a rise in all their categories. I'm saying this to you, Ed, in a message. Like, I couldn't fight for the moments that Tails was in, because for me, Arise as a whole game, after all this time of Tails games that have been so kind of whatever, Arise is just fucking so goddamn good to me, and I loved everything kind of that it was going for, and the combat is we never even spoke about the combat, and like the entire gameplay that game offers is amazing. It is just Arise for me.
I can't even. Like I say, I can't disagree with a word you've said. 2-2. Mick, well, do we want to give Lyle the final vote? Because I think we should. I think we should. Yeah, I think we should. Mick, what's your vote?
You have changed my mind, Forza, because I'm now thinking of the things that I could maybe would prefer were better or different in Tales compared to Forza, where I can't list any. And I think for that reason, let's put it this way: if I'd have reviewed Forza, it would have been a 10. If I'd reviewed Tales, it probably wouldn't have been. That's it. So Forza's 2 for me.
Well. It all comes down to... Well, it doesn't, because we've not even discussed our number 1. But you know what I mean? This second place all comes down to Lyle.
And you know what? I've been swayed by Adam and Chris And I'm saying Forza Horizon 5. I think...
You say you've been swayed by Adam and Chris. I was like...
I know. Which Adam and Chris?
Wink.
I was like, Jesus, on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, I think from what everyone said, it just feels like Forza is the one. So, yeah, that's my vote.
How do we talk about the number one, given that we haven't mentioned it for 3.5 hours?
Because
we need
it's
to
been
say
mentioned
stuff about it,
in
surely.
almost every category we've discussed.
I think if you didn't see this coming,
it smashed
your wing
best
mirrors.
moment with 3 placements on a list of 5. It genuinely is the most unique game I've played, probably ever.
I think I was having a really serious. I was writing my personal top 10 out, and I was having a real think about this, and there was my number one's been my number one since I first played it, and not when I first played the retail version. It's been number one since I played the preview build with Chris White. I knew then the only question I had about that, and Chris, we discussed this at the time. The only question I had is, have they shown us all the best bits in the early part of the preview, and the rest of the game shit? Oh my God, what a fool. What a fool. Don't get me wrong, some of those moments were tremendous, but It Takes Two. I firmly believe this game shouldn't exist. It shouldn't exist. There's no world in which a guy walks into a room, pitches the idea of a game that requires co-op, not suggests, requires a co-op partner, that's published by EA, that comes up with a different, I don't want to use the word gimmick incorrectly here, but a different unique mechanic for every single level, and then goes and throws it behind its shoulder and goes, no, you're never seeing them again. I can't believe that someone in the room hasn't gone, stop, we can make a whole game out of that. Just that bit.
Yeah.
This game should not exist.
Be a game. Every level could
honestly,
have been stretched out to 7 hours and been a game.
And honestly, the thing is that I really sat down and thought about it, and I thought the only game that I can, and I've said this before, the only game I can come close to in comparison that does that is Mario Odyssey. So I started thinking as I was tapping away today, actually, if I was... Well, don't ask me why I did this, because this is just... It's masochistic. But if there was a world in which only one of those could exist, which would I pick? Now, I would have thought it's an easy choice, isn't it? Easy choice. Is it?
So
because I fucking
no,
think
it's
I'd
not
pick,
an easy choice.
I think I'd pick It Takes Two.
I
think I'd pick
in
It Takes Two over Super Mario Odyssey.
I said in the pod when we were talking about the weeks after it was released, when we played it, it out Odyssey's Odyssey for me.
It does.
In the sense that the way it has the new ideas like Odyssey has, and I don't want to be really reductive about what Odyssey does because it's phenomenal, right? Game of the year, actually, I think in that year, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But the way in which it has new ideas, but then they are incorporated together because there are 2 unique ideas each level, in terms of mechanics.
Yes. The
way they are integrated and then used in different ways throughout that level, and then in the boss, more often than not. It's on another level. Like, you're talking about like a hammer and nail, and you think, okay, I get it, it's a hammer and a nail. Well done. But the different ways that just a hammer, and that's not even the best one, right? But a hammer and nail, and the way you use that, just different ways to traverse and help each other out, and then use them for a boss. And you think, this is doing, like, you could imagine that in a Mario game, but it wouldn't do all those things together as a whole to go, oh my God, that's just a hammer and a nail. It would do maybe 1 or 2 of them really well, and you got a good moment there, but you probably wouldn't go back and go, that's one of the best moments of the year.
Let's not forget it does swimming levels well.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I tell you what as well. This is a game that I played late. Like, you guys played it when it came out, and before I played it late. I played it right. I started it right before we started the deliberations. Powered through it with my daughter, and it's one of those, like, my daughter plays a lot of games. She's a bit like me. She likes all sorts of stuff. I play a lot of games, obviously, but for all the new mechanics that this game introduces, for all the new not gimmicks, but those new ways you have to traverse each level, and the ways it makes you stop and rethink every time you start a new level. It's like, I can't just do the same things. It's taking it away. It's giving me something else. Not once though, and I'm not saying that the game is particularly easy, but not once did I go, fucking stumped now. Not once. It's so fucking intuitive to sit there with the other person and go, well, no, you've got to use that there, and then I've got to use that here. And it might be difficult to work out exactly how to do that, but at no point was I like, well, what do I do with the nails? What do you do with that hammer? What do you do with that gun or this gun? Or
you're never stumped, but you're never passive. That's the whole point.
That's it. Yeah,
you're engaged
you
throughout
immediately go,
all of it.
That, Chris,
what do we do next? But
that will go back to something that I remember really rung a chord with me when Joseph Fares was introducing the game at this preview event. I think, Chris, you missed that bit. I think you interviewed him later, but you missed the actual. Later, the actual. I think you were busy for the actual presentation, and I remember the phrase, and I knew everyone would run with this, was "no shiny shit." There are no collectibles in this game. Like, and I know we all did it. Like Adam, Chris, and both Chris's. Sorry, we both were like, yeah, but there's that thing, and like for example, very early on where you can electrocute your friend, but press that button. There's no point to it. It's not an unlockable trophy or a collectible. It is just incidental that they wanted this world to feel so fully realised when you explore it that everything you think of, they'd already planned for.
I have little versus bits as well. The little bits where you just go against each other for the hell of it. There's no, you don't win a prize.
Again, that is take those all in take all of those out, and you've made a WarioWare. Not quite, perhaps, but you know what I mean. That's a minigame collection.
I remember, Adam, like, for me, one of the things that summed up this game for me, I can't remember the exact level it was on, but we were playing together, doing what I normally do and try and find ways of climbing up stuff I'm not supposed to climb up, and managed to find a way up this really tall like tower type thing, not the Hell Tower, another thing. And we found this radio beacon that you hadn't found in any of the other playthroughs.
Yeah, it was the space level.
And you kind of...
I'd said to you that I'm sure you can get up there, and that was like your synapse was like, well, I'm fucking going to then.
Well,
and I'm like, well, no, I've tried. I don't think you... I feel like you can, but I don't think you can. And you were like, no, and then you did.
With Skyrimmed up there. Yeah, and then we found this little beacon, and you kind of like angled it at various points, like different frequencies, and you just got different hidden messages that were of no consequence whatsoever. And I'm like, for me, there was like... None of that needed to be in the game.
No, you would imagine some executive somewhere going, could you stop? You're never going to release this fucking thing.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, Fares.
Yes.
I don't want to name drop, but I spoke to him. He was really insightful about this particular element of the game is when we'd played the preview, obviously, and then I talked to him after we'd played it. So at least we had something to talk about. I wasn't just like asking the generic questions. And I brought up that torture machine. You know, the torture machine in the tree? In the treehouse. And he said that they spent ages making that.
They must have.
And he said, we spent ages making it. Half people probably will never see that.
Yep.
But that's what he wanted this game to be. He wanted it to be a completely interactive world where, like in real life, you don't see everything as you walk down the street. You miss things. Like he says, people will miss things. But I'd rather have that than shiny shit. He said he doesn't believe in collectibles as much as he adores Nintendo. This is what he wants from his platformer, and it works throughout. Like you're talking about the beacons. There's so many, and the mini games for fuck's sake.
What about in that same?
You can play a full game of chess. You can play a full game of chess.
What about the models? The models of the A Way Out characters?
Yeah, in the side bit, the starting level, they're just there. Like
I wonder if there's an Easter egg about brothers in there that we never found.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
Quite possibly.
I wonder.
Was that him as well? I did not realise.
Yeah. Not the same studio, but that was him. Yeah, that was his previous.
Because I really liked that.
Yeah, no, that was his first foray into games.
And to go from A Way Out,
it's ridiculous.
As you were saying there about like Forza, like it's like where the fuck does he go from here with this after doing it?
Yeah, but you say that I would literally throw money at the screen if he said I'm going to make 2 more levels.
I know.
Yeah.
I got to just say though, like that my overall experience of this game, like what you were saying about like Forza being a perfect game, I think It Takes Two is a perfect game.
I can't fault it.
I think it's a game to be experienced by absolutely all ages. It's for families, it's for friends. It like I was playing it, and what you're saying about like the Odyssey comparison, like I think he definitely loves Mario.
Oh, he said he literally said in the presentation, Nintendo, he wants to make a game like.
And you know what, like, that's where I'm just like, I love that you admit that, and then you create this thing then, and like when I was playing,
it doesn't ape it either. It doesn't ape it.
Doesn't copy it. No, it doesn't.
No. It's totally its own thing. And like, when I was playing that with you, Ed, I was like, this is like, I don't think I felt this way.
Yeah.
Like ever since like. I don't know. The last time I felt this way was like when I was a kid.
I think so too. You know, I could not believe it.
Sheer and utter joy.
It's joy.
That was
joyous.
Through me was mind blowing, and I was just like, and the fact you have to share this experience with a person.
Yep.
It's interesting because that thing is like for me. The biggest crying shame about this game is that some people won't play it because it's into a. But for me, not just because of the story and the combined mechanics that work so well because there's two players, but the fact that you have to experience this game with someone else and you're going to be talking and experiencing that with someone else, that just elevates it exponentially of how good it makes you feel. And you bounce off like what you're experiencing. It's so good.
There's that moment, like there's things like if you were like, I vividly remember growing up and like having my friends and we're going through like forests or fields and shit, and a friend would come over here and look at this. And you were doing that, you're like, come over here and check this out. I'm like, what's over here?
The thing is though, I like to think I would always wait until it was like, well, actually, I've played this twice before, and I think he's going to miss it. Exactly what Chris White was talking about there. I'm thinking, if I don't just... I think there was one bit, in fact, with Chris Hyde, where I didn't say anything. I knew he has to see this. So I just went there and stood. I was just chatting away, and I just stood my character near a thing until he eventually was like, why don't you... He just followed me over there and found it that way. I didn't want to go, do this, because that's not what I want. Yeah. But like the game's... It's just so chock full of elements where you're like... I don't know. It's just I hate to be cliched and be like, oh, it's magic. It fucking feels.
It is.
Add what you said there. Like, I think I'm with you. I don't think I felt this way about a game. I love the game. Like, God of War is a game I will always keep going back to and saying that. But it's a different emotion. It's a different thing.
Different.
Like It Takes Two is like I haven't felt. It threw me back to when I was a kid playing Sonic on the Sega. You know what I mean? Like it was like.
And you almost think that. I think that emotion is kind of after going away because
it's gone. You're an adult now,
And it's not to say you don't find joy in games. Like as I said,
it's a different kind of thing.
These games, and we love it. But like, I honestly couldn't explain how I was feeling as I was playing It Takes Two.
It's giddy. It's almost giddiness.
We played through it in 3 sessions, Ed, and I think like every time like the next session happened, I was like, "What am I going to find here?" And like. It's blowing my fucking mind.
It felt to me the thing that, and we made this comparison, but it sounds maybe a bit cliched or reductive to say it's like a Pixar film. But what I mean by, for me, it's not just any Pixar film. It's not a Pixar film that I see now. It's the feeling I felt when I first saw Toy Story.
The first one.
Like the first one. When I'm a kid. It's that kind of stuff where you're just like, this is completely different. Yeah. And it's just joyful and everything else. And it's not just like, it's so hard to put into words sometimes, but it's that kind of childhood thing that you don't experience very often. And frankly, you don't experience much now, like when you're this kind of age.
I mean, I think we should also mention the gameplay. I know this sounds a silly thing, but the first thing, like, so again, I keep throwing it back to the preview. But when Chris and I first saw a presentation of the game, and I'm like looking at it, going, "Sounds great." And they kept showing us like, the phrase "It Takes Two," "It Takes Two, baby." They were all the songs that are licensed because of It Takes Two in that respect. They were showing us all of these, and they were showing us the gameplay, and I was just sat there thinking. Yeah, but it ain't going to feel like that, is it? It's just not going to feel right. And then the second Chris and I took control, it's like, oh, wait a minute. This feels like exactly as it should in my head, and it never changes. It does every mechanic well, and it feels sensational.
It was pretty funny, like throughout the week, like it won Game of the Year also at the Game Awards, okay? But like when they were showing footage of that game coming up throughout the night, I was just smiling. I just instantly was smiling at the footage of that It Takes Two. I was like, that every time I see it, I'm just like, that game is just something else. And I think if any person came up to me and said, it's shit, just go away.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because there was a thing
mental.
Joseph Fares was he was in the media for, because he basically, I'm going to have to paraphrase because I can't remember the specific statement, but it was something along the lines of, if anyone can come up to me and tell me they don't like this game, I'll give them $50. And when you hear that, you're like, mate, you are asking for it. But when you've played it, you're like, I mean, I wouldn't make that bet because there's always dickheads out there, but also I get why. There's a confidence, there's bravado, and there's confidence with merit, and he knew. Because what it suggests to me is that he and his team have played video games like we have for our lives, and they knew when playing it, when making it, that this is what it should feel like. And like, so when people were, because when it was like this story was breaking, I got a funny feeling it was mid sort of preview into review embargo, so we couldn't really talk too much about it. And so, other than what we played, and it was funny that hearing people go, "Oh, yeah, what a dickhead saying all that." It's like, he's right. You can look at it and go, "Oh, not for me." But I'll tell you what, if you sit down and play it, I'd love to see the band who goes, "Oh, no, it's terrible. It feels terrible." You're right. I think you'd need committing, quite honestly.
I tell you what I really like as well is that, just to talk about the story a little bit, is that I'm not going to get too deep and emotional, but I'm a child of divorce, right? My parents split up when I was about 12. It was very messy. It wasn't very nice. There was a lot of pretty awful things. And like, so when you play a game like this, and this is what it's about, it would have been very easy at the back end of this game for him to put I mean, it has a happy enough ending, right? The ending.
Well, we talked about that. It's kind of what you want it to think. What you want to think it is what it is.
It's a satisfying end. It's the spinning top from Inception, like I said.
It's
that thing where it leaves it just enough ambiguity to, did they get back together? Don't they? Could they make a sequel if they wanted to? Could they?
But I think ultimately what they leave you with is whether or not they get back together, they're all going to be all right.
That's the thing, and they could have quite easily just had them kiss at the end and go.
Yeah, they could have smashed you over the head with it.
Yeah, but the fact that they didn't, because it doesn't always work out. Like, regardless of what anybody wants to happen, I really like that, and it's such a small thing on the tail end of the game itself, which we've spoken about, which is phenomenal all the way through. But that little bit at the end, where I was kind of thinking. And don't get me wrong, I love a happy ending. So if they'd have done that, I'd have probably just gone, okay.
Fair enough.
The fact that they didn't, the fact that they just left it enough that you're not 100% sure, except what you know is it's okay. Like, whatever happened, something has been fixed. Like the family is fixed, you know? And I just, that is it's a very powerful decision, I think, for them to have made. And I do think, because it could, there's elements throughout the game where, because we talked about it for, I think we mentioned it for best story, and we mentioned it came up in best character, it's come up in everything. But there's elements of that game that are so, considering how far out and fantastical it is. It's people trapped in toys, having all these crazy adventures, right? But
riding frogs.
The character, but you start at the beginning, right? And how those characters interact with each other. Where the what's the wife's name? I can't remember her name. The woman. It's
Cody and May. Yeah.
May. So how, like, May's got quite a viper tongue. Like, Cody tends to just sort of blunder his way through stuff sometimes. In fact, but as you play more and more, May softens. Cody becomes, I wouldn't say more confident, but the characters change. Like, they managed to get character development into that game.
Oh yeah.
Like, this is a game about people trapped in the bodies of toys, trying to, and that, for me, the writing deserves a lot more praise than I think some people gave it, because the characters change, how they interact changes, how they speak to each other changes. It feels natural, and I think it's a tremendous achievement to do that in a game like that. It's just so fucking good.
On that note, the smoke is coming out.
That's a great line. Box quote.
Yep. No, on that note, the white smoke is coming out of the ceiling of God is a Geek Towers. Game of the Year has been decided. I shall read down the top 10 in reverse order. In 10th place, Returnal. 9th place, Monster Hunter Rise. Psychonauts 2, then Deathloop, Halo Infinite, Metroid Dread, Scarlet Nexus. Third place, Tales of Arise. Second place, Forza Horizon 5. And the best game of all of 2021 is It Takes Two. My voice even cracked there. That's perfect. And that's nothing to do with the length of time we've recorded over the last few weeks. It was emotion, all raw emotion. That's it. That's Game of the Year done. That's kind of us done until January rolls around and it all starts up again. And I really want to thank Adam, Chris, Mick, and Lyle for being here for the entire deliberations. It's been a pleasure chatting to them. There were a couple of moments where I was like, oh, we're all right, we're okay, and then we're always okay afterwards. I would like to just thank everyone who supports God is a Geek. I can speak for all of us here. I would like to thank everyone who supports GodIsAGeek.com in any manner they choose, whether that's just clicking the like button on a video, whether that's sharing a video with your mate, whether it's telling them about this podcast you like, or just retweeting a social post, whether it's going to the Patreon, patreon.com/GodIsAGeek, and supporting us in financial ways like that. You've changed my life. You guys on this podcast, you guys watching this podcast have changed my life. You have allowed me to do something I never thought I'd be able to do, and I am forever grateful for that. And I'm forever grateful for the friends I've made. I'm not leaving, by the way, or dying, or dying. That I know of. But I do genuinely mean it. I cannot put into words. As a writer, this is a bad admission. I cannot put into words what the people on this podcast mean to me, and the people who support us mean to me. I can't do it. It just can't be done. So Chris, Mick, Adam, Lyle, for one last time before the new year, let's say Merry Christmas to everyone and say we'll see you soon. We're going to have a little bit of a break because we've done a lot of podcasting. And if you've never watched it, you can do it on video form. It's the first time it's ever been in video. Again, that's because people have been watching. Thank you. And we will speak to you in the new year or whenever you choose to listen. Bye-bye for now.